Belvedere Banquets in Elk Grove Village as he tells the story of the American miracle. Get your tickets now at 560theanswer.com/miracle. That's 560theanswer.com/miracle.
Hey, it's Mike Gallagher here to introduce you to Jack Amberg. Jack is a retired Army Lieutenant Colonel and a certified top VA loan provider who can help you obtain the perfect loan. Jack, tell us a little more about yourself.
Thanks, Mike. I was both enlisted and commissioned in the military, and I'm VA certified in all 50 states. My mission is closing the loan to fit the personality, goals, and needs of my veterans. We actually underwrite our own loans, so we're a one-stop shop. Many veterans don't know the true savings of using this lifelong benefit.
Tell us how you approach working with realtors as part of the process.
I work closely with my realtors. My mission with them is to close the loan as quickly and as efficiently as possible.
Jack, how can we contact you?
You can call me at 630-995-5244 or online at yourvaguy.com.
Jack Amberg at 630-995-5244 or go to yourvaguy.com. Thanks, Jack.
Banker NMLS number 698289. The Federal Savings Bank is an equal housing lender and member of FDIC. NMLS number 411500.
Hi, it's Amy Jacobson and Dan Proft here from Chicago's Morning Answer.
We're partnering with Food for the Poor to help raise money to provide food and water to impoverished children and families in Haiti and Guatemala. As you probably know, when Hurricane Matthew rolled through Haiti a few months ago, it decimated a country that was already the poorest nation in the Western Hemisphere. The need right now is overwhelming.
Food for the Poor is one of America's largest and most trusted charities. Since 1982, they've been helping the poorest of the poor by directing resources directly to those in the greatest need. And 95 cents of every dollar they receive goes directly to the field, helping children and families.
Here's how you can help. A donation of $50 will provide food for a year and water for life for a child in Haiti. $50. That's all it takes to change a life.
To make that gift this Christmas season, just call 855-880-3663. That's 855-880-3663. Or go online and visit 560theanswer.com and search for the keyword food.
Mike Rowe here for 1 hour. Today, Chuck is jogging in place to make a point about energy efficiency.
I thought I was training for a marathon.
He's been at it now for...
3 minutes.
And already he's wearing out.
I'm not.
Your heating and air conditioning systems are a lot like Chuck.
Warm yet somehow cool.
Wheezing, wasting energy, and probably headed for replacement.
You're talking about the air systems, right?
Sure, pal. Sure. Call 1 hour before it's too late.
Can you do the disclaimer for me?
Each independent franchise is licensed in its respective state or county.
Thanks.
Are you taking Viagra for ED? Now you can get Sildenafil, the active ingredient in Viagra, and generic 20 milligrams for $2 per tablet. That's a savings of $40 per dose. Marley Drug is a North Carolina pharmacy delivering generic Sildenafil to your door. For information on Sildenafil, go to marleygenerics.com or call us at 800-452-1760. That's 1-800-452-1760.
We've been telling you about school closings this morning, many across Northwest Indiana. In fact, quite a few of them, including Valparaiso Community Schools, just announcing just moments ago they're opening 2 hours late, and we're seeing that across the board in Northwest Indiana. Many schools closed there, and also just into the school closing center this morning, Rich Township High School, District 227, they're closing today. Not a late start. That's a close for Rich Township High School. 5:09, let's check the roads in our AM 560 traffic center. Here is Jim Telemonte. Good morning, Jim.
Good morning, Mike. And in Northwest Indiana, southbound I-65 remains closed at State Road 2 in Lowell to clean up an overnight crash. Also, South Shoreline trains, due to the conditions, are only running in downtown Chicago and Michigan City. So buses that are providing service between Michigan City and South Bend. Kennedy Expressway outbound at Addison got a crash. Right lane blocked. There's a light pulled down. 355 southbound Veterans Memorial. The ramp to the eastbound Reagan Tollway. The report of a pavement buckle and also potholes on that ramp. So the ramp's open, but caution. Traffic is a service of Panera Bread. Family and friends will like whatever you get them this holiday. Why not get them something they'll love? A Panera Bread gift card. Every $50 in gift cards purchased, get a $10 bonus card for yourself. Visit your local bakery cafe for more details. Traffic answers when you need them most. I'm Jim Talamonte on AM 560. The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer is next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast from the aircomfort.com Weather Center. Let's get the forecast with Ashley Benoit.
Brisk and very cold today with sunshine mixing with some clouds. Extreme cold can be dangerous for outdoor activities. High 8. Mostly cloudy and frigid tonight. A little late night snow with little or no accumulation. Low 2, but temperatures rising into the lower teens overnight. I'm Ashley Benoit on AM 560, The Answer.
Officially 0 at O'Hare, 4 above along Chicago's lakefront. Your next news update, 5:30. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy starts now on AM 560, The Answer.
Listen to AM 560 on your mobile device. Now available on iHeartRadio. Online at iHeartRadio.com.
This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560. The Answer.
Good morning, Dan and Amy. Well. Alderman Willie Cochran, alderman for now, doing his part to get Chicago's aldermen sent to prison ratio back to, the average at least, back to 1 per year since the year of my birth.
Oh,
They started to lag. I mean, I think it's about 30 or 31 since 1972. So, we got to pick up the pace a little bit. And Willie Cochran is doing his part. Willie Cochran.
who, by the way, was at the city council meeting yesterday when this all went down.
Oh, he's not. He just because he was indicted by the federal government, you think he's going to give up his post? No.
But I love that he was at the meeting, and Charles Thomas had a picture of him, and all of a sudden his phone goes off, and he checks his coat pocket, and he's like, I gotta go. I'll see. Sneak out. I'm gonna sneak out here. Nobody will see me. Nobody will see me walking down the hall with my 15-page indictment, 22-page indictment.
Piers, I've been indicted.
Is this thing on? I gotta go. That was the best shot ever. If anybody wants a good laugh, take a look at it. It's classic.
Another day at City Hall. The season's changed. Chicago doesn't. Federal grand jury indicted Alderman Willie Cochran, Southside, 20th Ward. 15-count indictment alleging Cochran used money from his ward activities fund to pay his daughter's college tuition and to finance his gambling expenses, as well as to purchase items for use in his home. He also is accused of extorting money from a lawyer and a liquor store owner in exchange for his support for said businesses, like getting a liquor license.
Right, he shook them down.
Yeah, I tell you what, boy, there is a thin line in Chicago between being shaken down by an alderman and having to get the alderman's approval for a business license or a liquor license in his or her ward. The whole thing is a shakedown. The whole thing is an extortion racket. Apparently, Willie Cochran just not as artful as other aldermen, and also apparently he had an attorney who didn't appreciate it, an attorney representing real estate developers in his ward, who said, no, I'm not going to go that way, and flipped on him. So Willie, here's the thing that's a little bit sad about this.
Oh, there's something sad about it?
Well, he was a 26-year veteran of the Chicago Police Force.
Oh, that's right. He was
before he was elected.
Officer.
So kind of
So he used to enforce the law and
a black mark. I mean, I guess it speaks a little bit to the political culture in Chicago, right? And you, again, as I've said before, you treat politicians like they're members of a ruling class, like they're feudal lords. Don't be surprised when they start behaving like feudal lords. And Willie Cochran apparently fell prey to the same temptations as many before him, and many currently on the city council with him who just haven't been indicted yet.
Well, yeah, they haven't been caught yet.
There's two kinds of aldermen in Chicago.
Okay, all right, what are the two? Okay, Mark Conkle, in Chicago, there's two kind of aldermen.
Yeah. As you guys see them, work hard, play hard. Okay, Conkle.
Yeah.
So gritty. Two kinds of aldermen. Aldermen who have been sent to prison and aldermen who have not been sent to prison yet. Those are your two kinds of Chicago City Council members. We're going to
That's
talk
good.
to Faisal Khan.
Yeah, because he's been on this case for a while.
He's on a lot of cases. Faisal Khan, former legislative inspector general for the city council, he was bounced because he didn't understand that he was supposed to just sit there and do nothing like they do. He wasn't actually supposed to do his job and investigate the alderman. We'll talk to him at the bottom of the 8 o'clock hour. Yeah, how about the South Side being represented by what appears to be, another street criminal, former cop turned street criminal. I'm sorry to say, does not serve the image of the Chicago Police Department very well. But that's
the thing
story.
is, this charity, he had charity events a lot and to raise money. It wasn't a 501c3 charity. It was just a checking account that people were putting money into, and then he used that to pay off the gambling and his daughter's college.
Yeah,
because that's what you do. It's my charity.
Well, and I like the ratio too. $5,000 towards his daughter's college tuition, $25,000 for gambling.
That's a big hole to crawl out of. $25,000.
Yeah, he had a bad night, and it happens to the best of us. And you know,
I know you're a gambler. He
dips into the fund.
Well, what's the worst? What's the biggest debt you've had to pay off?
Money's fungible.
Sure, you're not going to answer that question, but I've tried.
I've got my ward activities fund that that I dip into. When the cards turn against me.
We had a guy at Channel 5. He was a huge gambler, and they met him in the parking lot with a baseball bat to pay off his debt. And that's when he called Mommy, and Mommy had to come in from L.A. from her Shirley Temple home that she lived in and help him out.
Well, so he was not gambling at the casino. He was gambling.
He was sports betting, but he was in the sports department, so it was a little. But you know what? He's come clean, and he went to Gamblers Anonymous or went away, and he can't even play fantasy football now.
Well, I'll tell you what. I'll look for.
If I see anybody in the parking lot with a baseball bat.
Yeah, they're not for me.
I'm going to go into the fetal position again.
They may be for me, but it has nothing to do with gambling.
Okay.
So here's the thing. When does Willie Cochran say that he is ill?
Oh,
he's got an addiction. And
a gambling addiction, that's easy.
He's not.
That's a turkey shoot, Dan.
And that makes him ineligible to serve the 280 years in prison he could get if the federal government maxed him out. Now, of course, he's innocent. So that's why he'll continue serving and earning his six-figure salary and the associated benefits that Chicago City Council members earn.
Mm-hmm. Earn.
Don't you know? Tom and Schaumburg, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Just a quick question. If this guy is convicted, will they take away his pension like they did to Drew Peterson?
Drew Peterson was convicted on murder charges.
It's about being convicted of a felony. It doesn't really matter the nature of the felony in terms of removing your pension or rescinding a pension.
Well, I think they're more aggressive to rescind your pension when you killed a wife and had a murder for hire scheme with the Cook County or Will County State's attorney.
Well, no, I can see that point. Okay. Yes, but I suspect that he will have his pension rescinded. Now, I don't think it's automatic.
No, I don't know because he committed the crime not while he was a police officer.
No, but right. So it would be the incremental pension that the benefits that he earned while he was an alderman. That's probably the case. Although I wonder if you could I don't know. I think you would have to litigate that matter if the police pension fund wanted to claw back and take his pension benefits, or for example, if the Illinois Attorney General stepped in to try and do that, like she did with George Ryan, for example, because you know what a anti-corruption watchdog Lisa Madigan is. I almost got it out. I couldn't. It's too funny. Related story: former Sandy Jackson, former Chicago alderman, also convicted felon.
Yeah.
She's also holding up her end to get the average back to 1 a year since my birth. She's
trying to get her life back together. She needs a job.
She gave an exclusive interview to Sneed. Psst. She was seen canoodling with Sneed.
You love that.
Yeah.
No, they were on the phone together.
Yeah. She filed her own divorce case in Washington, D.C. She wants the divorce to be litigated in D.C. Jesse Jr. wants it here. Best line from this?
What?
A source that told Sneed, Sandy doesn't want the divorce to be a battle royale, but she definitely needs to find a job, and Jesse doesn't technically work.
So are we funding them? Are they a welfare couple now? What's going on?
Jesse doesn't technically work.
He lives here. He lives on the south side in their house here. She lives in Washington, D.C. now, and she wants sole custody of the children, ages 13 and 16.
Yeah.
And I'm hoping that she gets him.
Yeah. I can't get past the phrase from this source that told Snead, she needs to find a job and Jesse doesn't technically work. But, to rally to Jesse Jr.'s defense, it kind of runs in the family.
But what a scumbag. I mean, he started divorce proceedings while she was still in prison for a scheme that he convinced her to be part of. I don't know. And he subpoenaed her cell phone, right? He's really paranoid. He's not quite right, in case you haven't noticed, and subpoenaed her cell phone records, her text messages, her emails, because he's paranoid.
Yeah, I mean,
the cheaters don't like when other people might be cheating. It's hard for them.
The real issue is who gets the Bruce Lee memorabilia. That's all we really care about.
It's news, opinion, insight. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Turn on my mic. Wind chill warning in effect until 10 o'clock this morning. 0 degrees right now at O'Hare, going up to a high of 7 degrees. If you factor in the wind chill, it's minus 19 right now. So dangerously cold tonight, a low of 2. My mouth is still frozen. And then tomorrow, Friday, mostly cloudy. Cold, a bit of snow up to an inch, but warmer. Get this, a high of 21. Let's get those travel times. Saw a real nasty accident on the outbound Kennedy near Addison. Has it been cleared up? Here's Jim.
Good morning, Amy. Good morning, Dan. Yes, it has. Just moments ago at Addison, this was a crash which involved a light pole being down. We had a right lane blocked, but that just reopened, and everything is clear again on the outbound Kennedy. Not seeing any delays there. Little slow on the inbound Ron and the inbound Bishop Ford, the usual slight morning slowdowns for this time of the morning. Northwest Indiana, the ramp from southbound I-65 to State Road 2 in Lowell remains closed after a much earlier overnight crash. We're still cleaning up there. South Shoreline trains only run from Chicago to Michigan City. There's bus service from Michigan City and South Bend. Slight delays on the Union Pacific West line due to cold-related mechanical issues. Ramp problems southbound 355 to eastbound 88. Veterans Memorial, Reagan Tollway, there was a report of a pavement buckle or a large pothole. The ramp is open, and you'll have hockey traffic at 11 this morning. The Wolves have an 11 a.m. home game against Grand Rapids. You'll have traffic in Rosemont. I'm Jim Talamonte of the AM 560 Traffic Center.
I'm worried that my employees are costing me a fortune every month in damaged or missing inventory. I'm not sure how to solve this problem or who to turn to.
Alarm Detection Systems installs video cameras that watch over your place of business, reduce loss, and increase profits with advanced security. ADS is an authorized Honeywell equipment dealer. Visit adsalarm.com or call 630-844-6300. Alarm license number 127000143.
I can't get the alarm company on the phone to save my life. My alarm's going off all the time, and I don't know why. It's driving me crazy.
Call Alarm Detection Systems. We have live reps answering our phones 24/7, 365. No auto attendant. Call 630-844-6300. Get better customer service in return. Alarm Detection Systems is an authorized Honeywell equipment dealer. Visit adsalarm.com. Alarm license number 127000143.
No matter what type of business you're in, having a strong business banking partnership can help your bottom line. I'm Jeff Boundy, president of Cornerstone National Bank and Trust Company. We strongly believe that trust, service, and relationship are the cornerstone of a successful business banking partnership. Customers like Robert Weissite of Robert C. Weissite Company agree.
I appreciate the depth of experience my Cornerstone banker brings to the table. Last June, we located a building we wanted to buy for expansion. My Cornerstone banker walked me through everything I could expect to face in advance, from the letter of intent all the way through the day of closing. It went very smooth and predictably and with low stress. He had been through this type of transaction many times, and his years of experience helped me make my purchasing experience predictable, efficient, and successful.
Thanks, Bob. Please visit cornerstonenb.com, or I invite you to give me a call at 847-654-3000 to explore a business banking partnership.
Equal Opportunity Lender. Member FDIC.
AM 560. The Answer.
Everybody was kung fu fighting.
And the Michael Jackson memorabilia, too. Don't forget about that.
Didn't they
have to give that back, though?
I think.
Oh, no, maybe they didn't.
No.
How are they living? I mean,
I think
unemployment? What's going on?
I think they should each get one kid. I think it should be like a draft. They each get one kid, and then they get to go back and forth with the memorabilia. Like you take the Michael Jackson fedora, I'll take the Bruce Lee poster.
And then next month we'll switch.
Yeah.
Well, see, Jesse Jackson Jr., I'm sorry, knowing what I know about the court system, he doesn't stand a chance in HE-double hockey sticks to get those kids. If he's living here and he abandoned them, and he's living here in his house on the south side, and they're in D.C. with their mom going to school, I think a judge will like that better.
Especially when Jesse Jr. doesn't.
What? He's on disability, I think.
Oh,
That's
I
how
know. I know. He doesn't.
They're getting by.
Oh, yeah.
Disability check.
Doesn't technically work. Yeah, technically. Doesn't technically
You
work.
like that technically, don't you?
Jim Brown. I feel good. Not that Jim Brown.
Dan, you sound a little...
What?
No, just kidding.
That was my.
What was that?
That was my James Brown
You
impersonation.
okay over there?
But I'm talking about Jim Brown, the Hall of Famer.
Oh, yeah.
Arguably, here we go again.
Oh, no.
Arguably the best running back and best football player in NFL history.
No, he's not. Walter Payton is.
I just said arguably. I can't even say arguably without a Walter Payton slapdown.
That offends me. It offends a majority of our listeners. So stop it.
I'm not
Who
denigrating.
had more rushing yards? Just
Oh,
you're
my
all about the
goodness.
stats.
Yeah, I mean.
Anyway, he was the second best running back. Go on. What about him? He's the deuce. Yes.
So he met with Trump. And, Jim Brown is kind of a thoughtful guy. I don't agree with everything he says, but he's very thoughtful about race relations and actually about the black family and about social policy. And he is a strong advocate for black families in this country. And so he speaks with, and he's got kind of, since his playing career, he's done a lot of like real work.
Good.
To advance the interests of,
not just charity golf outings.
No, I mean he's
a lot of them do.
He's out there and he speaks in no hushed tones, which I appreciate, even if there's disagreement. And so he met with Trump, and he had this to say about the meeting with Donald Trump and whether or not he should be given a chance, what his disposition is with respect to the legitimacy of Trump's victory.
Well, in my opinion, people that go against the election are going against America. We have free elections. Everybody can vote. We fought for that. We brag about that. And we know we're going to have a winner, we're going to have a loser. So my point is, if we respect the winner and approach that person, have access to that person, and that person will look at what we are presenting, that's not too bad. I could have sat back and said, well, Hillary didn't win, I'm just going to sit on my butt and complain. But see, the one thing about this country, if you get off your butt and you apply yourself, you can be successful. But if you want to be delivered, you're talking about the wrong country.
If you want to be delivered, you're talking about the wrong country. Really good stuff. This is an interview you did with Gloria Vanderbilt's kid, Anderson. And
they went with Ray Lewis, right? They went up to the...
Ray Lewis was also met with Trump, right? But Brown was a Hillary Clinton supporter. Make no mistake. But this is what his reaction is to the outcome of the election and a look forward. And then the other issue that the left is now raising is, of course, the diversity quotient of the Trump cabinet.
Please, I see that story one more time, I'm going to throw up in my mouth.
There's not enough persons of color. It's all just old white men, blah, blah, blah.
Not enough
women,
the line. Yes.
So Jim Brown addressed that. He was asked the question about the diversity of the cabinet, and does that concern you? Listen to Jim Brown's answer.
A lot of the black people in my community might think I'm a sellout by saying this. The three greatest people in my life as a young person were white. My high school superintendent, my high school coach, and a graduate of Manhasset High, Kenny Malloy, who was a mentor to yours truly. And so I'm not a person that really deal in color. I recognize the inequities that certain cultures have to go through. I understand the history of slavery. I know all those things, but I'm not a victim. I can vote, I can participate, I can invest my money, I can invest my time, and that's what I'm doing. I'm not working for anybody. I'm not making any money doing what I'm doing. I'm doing it because someone did it for me.
Oh, I love him.
I love him more.
Listen to podcasts of Dan and Amy from the AM 560 mobile app. Download it today at 560theanswer.com/mobile.
A couple years ago, I had a severe accident which disabled my right hand and caused chronic pain and complete suffering. It took many years before really we figured out exactly what it was or how to treat it. My whole goal was I did not want to be on high levels of pain medicine. After some time, I went to see Dr. Kenneth Candido to try to figure out the source of the pain and a solution and how to solve it. He listens. I'm going to cry because it's so real. I've been through so much, and he wants to help his patients, and he's there for me whenever I need him.
This is Ken Candido of Chicago Anesthesia Pain Specialists. I have a simple message for you. If you or someone you love or someone you know has chronic pain, contact us. Treating chronic pain issues is what we do. We can make it better. Get an appointment and let's talk. MyPainChicago.com, MyPainChicago.com. All the info is available at MyPainChicago.com. Let's make you pain-free.
AM 560, The Answer.
Ow! Coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Donald Trump meets with $3 trillion worth of tech execs, and that is how you measure them at 5:37.
And later, an Illinois college has a new safe space that involves animals. But first, let's go into the newsroom. Meow, meow. Here's Mike Scott.
2 words for you running back haters out there. Barry Sanders, 4 degrees above zero. We have mostly clear skies, and that has given us a wind chill of minus 17. And look for that deep cold to keep blasting the Midwest and Northeast with freezing winds over the next several days. Ceasefire deals back on in Syria to try and allow the evacuation of rebels and tens of thousands of civilians from eastern Aleppo. Some foreign volunteers helping with the evacuation say they're part of a 6-vehicle ambulance convoy that will head to nearby hospitals with over 2,000 wounded people today. President-elect Donald Trump continues his thank you tour today in Pennsylvania. The school district in rural Colorado is voting to allow teachers and other school staff to carry guns on campus to protect students. Schools in the Hanover district will undergo strict training before being allowed to carry a weapon. Closing arguments today in the trial of accused South Carolina church shooter Dylan Roof. The prosecution and defense rested their cases yesterday. An attorney for a prominent Chicago alderman says his client will fight the charges against him in a newly unveiled indictment. Willie Cochran's attorney, Thomas Durkin, says his client has an outstanding reputation and they will fight vigorously. A man charged with stealing packages right off the front porches of homes in west suburban Aurora. Moses Williamson was taken into custody Monday after some good police work and some folks who were in the neighborhood taking pictures of his car near porches on Route and 4th Streets. Investigators believe he may have been involved in several other similar incidents. College hoops, Northern Illinois, Northwestern, Southern, and UIC all with wins. The news service of Cabela's. If your family loves the great outdoors every season, there's only one place to go for outdoor gifts this season, Cabela's Christmas sale. Plus, hurry in Saturday for 8 a.m. doorbusters at Cabela's in Hoffman Estates. 5:34 and a check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
For me, it never has been about Trump.
The Joe Walsh Show.
For me, it's about the ideas, it's about the issues, it's about the movement. Go ahead and cut whatever deal you want, but when it comes to people in this country illegally, you ran your campaign, sir, on that issue. You can't walk that back.
The Joe Walsh Show. Weeknights starting at 5. Right after Sean Hannity at 2 on AM 560. The Answer.
If your family loves the great outdoors, there's only one place to go for this season. Cabela's Christmas sale. Plus, hurry in Saturday for 8 a.m. doorbusters at Cabela's in Hoffman Estates.
Hey, the holidays are almost here, so drive north to avoid Cook County taxes. You know, for half a century, Schrank Smoke & Gun has been the firearms store generations of customers trust, and they maintain that family atmosphere. Schranks has over 700 firearms in stock, including an excellent selection of AR rifles to fit any budget, including Colt, LWRC, Ruger, FN, Smith & Wesson, and civilian force arms that are made in Illinois. With Lake County's largest selection, there's new, used, and consignment pistols, rifles, shotguns, and an array of ammo. Even collectibles, older functioning hunting rifles, and full gunsmith services. From a first firearm and a Ford card or adding to your collection, now is the perfect time to shop Schranks. And if you love cigars, you'll find your favorites in Schranks humidors. So visit smoketheletterN.gun.org or call 847-662-4034. 847-662-4034. Call them for directions. Schranks Smoke and Gun in Waukegan, your family-owned gun store since 1964.
536. Check our roads, AM 560 traffic center time. Here's Jim.
Thanks, Mike. Eden's outbound at Dundee. Got a report of a car in the ditch off the exit ramp. The main lanes are fine. Kennedy, good for now. An earlier crash at Addison is gone on the outbound side. The Eisenhower's looking pretty good. Inbound getting a little congested past Wolf Road. Stevenson got a 2-minute delay central to Pulaski. The Rhine, a 2-minute delay. Canalport into the Loop. Bishop Ford, about a 3-minute delay from Stony Island to the Merge. There's an issue on the ramp from the southbound Veterans Memorial Tollway to the eastbound Reagan Tollway, 355 to 88. Possible pavement buckler pothole causing some issues on that ramp. Traffic service of Let Us Entertain You. Give the gift that fits all appetites. The Let Us Entertain You gift card. Receive a free $25 holiday bonus every $100 in Lettuce gift cards you buy. Simply visit a Lettuce restaurant or LEYE.com. Traffic answers when you need them most. I'm Jim Talamonte on AM 560. The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast. From the aircomfort.com Weather Center, brisk, very cold, clouds and sun. High near 8 today. Frigid, bit of snow overnight. Low of 2 above. Some clouds and 3 above right now. A wind chill of -17. Your next news update is at 6. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560. The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by Empowered Investing, the show dedicated to investors. Heard Saturdays at noon right here on AM 560. The Answer.
Good morning, Dan and Amy. And Trump met with all the rich Poindexters yesterday. Whistled in represented 13 tech execs representing all the heavyweights. Your Elon Musk, your Tesla and SpaceX, your Uber CEO Travis. I'm not sure actually Travis Kalanick was there.
I don't think he was there.
I think he was there, but both Musk, who was there, and Kalanick have been named to Trump's advisory team. Have accepted posts on Trump's strategic business advisory team. This is his strategic and policy forum, as he terms it. But you had representatives from Apple and Alphabet, the Google parent company, and Microsoft and Amazon and Facebook and Intel and Oracle and IBM and Cisco and then Musk representing Tesla and SpaceX.
Twitter wasn't there because the CEO, Jack Dorsey, said he wasn't invited. Did not get an invite. There's there's only so much room at the table.
It was over the crooked Hillary emoji, wasn't it? Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yep. Didn't like that. So yeah, he didn't get an invite.
Well,
but it was kind of a love fest. Did you watch it? Did you see it? Did you hear?
Yeah,
Donald Trump address the techies.
Well, I'm here to help you folks do well, and you're doing well right now. And I'm very honored by the bounce. They're all talking about the bounce. So right now, everybody in this room has to like me at least a little bit, but we're going to try and have that bounce continue. And perhaps even more importantly, we want you to keep going with the incredible innovation. There's nobody like you in the world.
Yeah, that was part of his kind of opening statement after they all went around and introduced themselves like it was the first day of school. Yeah. So here's the thing. The question going in was, would this be a reckoning or a rapprochement, trying to forge alliances here? And it was certainly the latter. That clip you just played is an indication of that. He went on to say to Trump, anything we can do to help this go along, and we're going to be there for you, and you'll call my people, you'll call me. It doesn't make any difference.
Yeah, but the way he
we
said
have no
it
formal chain of command around here. And then he introduced Gary Cohn, the president of Goldman Sachs, and Wilbur Ross as soon-to-be Commerce Secretary. And he did say in his opening statement, we're going to do fair trade deals. He said, but then he also said, we're going to make it a lot easier for you to trade across borders because a lot of the restrictions, a lot of the problems that I think you'll see. So on the one hand, he said, we're going to do fair trade deals, which is concerning language, given some of the protectionist rhetoric that has come from Trump. On the other hand, he's essentially talking about breaking down the ability to trade across borders in global markets. I assume that's a sop to the regulatory reform he's discussing. But it was very interesting. I don't know what your perspective on it was, if you thought he should have done a little bit of finger wagging, a little bit of chastising of these Silicon Valley chieftains, or if he struck the right tone. 312-642-5600, turnkey.pro answer line, 64636DA, turnkey.pro text line.
I know one thing. I know that if Hillary Clinton was president, that meeting would have never happened. And if it did, she would have charged them for her to see, to be in front of her greatness.
Clinton Foundation fundraiser.
No, it would have been. Let me hear about your problems. But we're having a fundraiser, and you can pay $25,000 to $50,000 to enter the room. So I don't know what was really accomplished by it. He did send a warning, but he, as much as I rip on Donald Trump, he is trying to be personable and trying to hear people's concerns. And maybe even try to control them a little.
Well,
it's a different approach, and that's what everyone wanted. That's why he's president.
I mean, Jeff Bezos, who has also had his run-ins with Trump, we talked a little bit about it yesterday with Fox Business News reporter that we chatted with. Bezos said the meeting, and he said he characterized the meeting as very productive. And said that the incoming administration, the Trump administration, focus on innovation was the right focus. So, Bezos said he, quote, shared the view that the administration should make innovation one of its key pillars, which would create a huge number of jobs across the whole country in all sectors, not just tech, everywhere. So I know where the D.C. press corps is looking for points of conflict to highlight and exploit, but Trump is not giving them very many as it really pertains to putting together the leadership team of his administration, and then the kind of the meeting schedule that he's kept with people from all walks of life. I mean, you can roll your eyes at meeting with some of the celebrities or sports figures, but it's been a pretty didn't he meet with Anna Wintour yesterday too?
Yeah, he met with her. Yeah, the day that he met with Kanye West, he then met with Anna Wintour, and she for the first time in Vogue's history, they endorsed Hillary Clinton.
Right, of course they did. So it's just it's kind of fascinating to watch. I mean, the funny thing about this, right, is as Victor Davis Hanson said, 6 months before the election, Trump's campaign message is basically all these elites in media and business and entertainment and government. I know them all, and they're even worse than you think. And he's proving he knows them all. And to some extent, he's proving that they are worse than you think, because for all of their caterwauling and overheated rhetoric, they want to be near the epicenter of power.
Well, of course. And the real reason, according to Sneeding, the reason why Kanye West was canoodling with Donald Trump is because he wants to play at the inauguration. He wants to perform. So that was one of the real reasons why he was meeting with Donald Trump.
Well, hopefully Trump will resist the temptation.
Not to discuss hair color. I don't know.
But
there's a lot of different balls on inauguration night.
I just find the how pliable all of these leftists are very interesting, right? I mean, what they're really highlighting is they don't. Yeah, some of them are ideological, but they're just kind of culturally left. They don't really know anything. They don't really believe anything. they just kind of believe. They're just like,
They're just following along.
Well, they're secular humanists. I mean, they believe in that they are their own gods. I know that.
No, I just think they have so much money that they feel really guilty about it, and they
Yes,
don't,
but
they
that,
don't know who to vilify. Like I donate money, I make so much money, I feel guilty about it because there's so many poor people out there.
So why abide Trump then?
Because he's the star, man. He's
Right.
the new Barack Obama, man.
Well, he's not the new Barack
Well,
Obama.
He's the new president.
That's right. It's just about power and profile. I want to be seen going up the elevator and coming out of the elevator and having the gaggle of press say,
Yeah, it helps his reality TV show.
Whose?
Kanye's. There was something in it for them.
Think about it writ large, not just
Everything.
Kanye.
Yeah.
Right, all of the people who had such critical things to say, and now who are so compliant and complimentary. It's more than just trying to be conciliatory. You're getting a glimpse into who these people are that are otherwise provided so much deference in our society, and they're displaying that they didn't deserve any, and that's kind of what Trump exposed. The non-elite elites, they have elite credentials, elite positions, but on a performance basis, they don't turn out to be very elite performers. They're really showing you something, how vacuous they are, how empty they are, how willing they are to go wherever the power resides. And I just find it fascinating. And to some extent, I don't know if Trump is doing this because he enjoys the celebrity culture as much as they do. I think that's a part of it. But I wonder if, maybe I'm giving him too much credit. I don't know.
He's done for 13 years.
Yeah, but do you think at all that part of this is exposing to the world that all of these people who were so critical of me, well, look at them now. Now you get a real understanding of who they really are. So maybe we shouldn't pay so much deference to the media elites and the sports elites and the business elites who are now coming to genuflect before a guy they were comparing to Hitler 2 weeks ago. Mm-hmm. I just think it's a fascinating dynamic, and I hope that's registering for people because I suspect that's part of Trump's intent.
The more you listen, the more you'll know. This is Chicago's Morning Answer. Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
You know who else wasn't there at the Tech Summit?
Who?
The Yahoo team.
They were busy dealing with a little minor hacking.
Kidding, they're not invited.
Right now we have 0 degrees.
0.0.
Yeah, how convenient. Going up to a high of 8 degrees, but if you factor in the wind chill, it's minus 19 right now. So please be brief and check on your elderly friends. Dan, are you okay over there?
I am for now. Thank you for checking on me.
Tomorrow, a little bit better. We're going to have snow, maybe a dusting to an inch, and a high of 21 degrees. Let's get the travel times. Very busy, man. A lot of spinouts on the roadways. Here's Jim Talamonte.
Thanks, Amy. Good morning. Some of the earlier crashes are gone. Some of the earlier fire activity cleared up as well, but we still have issues. Southbound Veterans Memorial Tollway, 355 on the ramp to the eastbound Reagan Tollway. Got a reported pavement buckler, large pothole. Ramp's open, but you'll slow down. The Edens is looking pretty good. Do have a crash reported off the ramp to Dundee. Kennedy's still okay. Inbound Eisenhower sluggish, 17th to Harlem, about a 2-minute delay. Stevenson has a 3-minute delay, Harlem to Pulaski. Ryan, a 3-minute delay entering downtown. Bishop Ford, a 3-minute delay from Cottage Grove to the Ride. Have a closure of the ramp from southbound I-65 to State Road 2 in Lowell due to an overnight wreck. I'm Jim Talamonte in the AM 560 Traffic Center.
This Sunday is our final show of the year of Illinois Rising. Oh, no. Yeah, I know. Mark your calendars, and you'll be able to get the podcast if you missed the show on Sunday afternoon. You're watching football or spending time with the family or going to a cult that masquerades as a church like Amy does.
Or going Christmas shopping.
Or going Christmas shopping.
The last weekend before Christmas.
Well, so if you can't listen on Sunday afternoon on these airwaves to Illinois Rising, you can get the podcast Year in Review at upstream-ideas.com, where you find all sorts of premium content that complements what we do on this show, long-form interviews with policymakers and opinion leaders, both at the local and national level. Man on the
Is
street.
that my Christmas present this year?
The podcast.
The DVD box set of Illinois Rising.
And it'll be autographed. It's a little something for you.
I want to spend more time with you.
Yeah, that's right. And I'll also provide you with selected interviews I've done and commentaries. It'll be a Dan-focused Christmas for you. You can spend time with the family, enjoying my musings and conversations with those high-minded types at the local and national level that you can get in our little Against the Current interview series that we do. Won't that be fun for the kids?
Christmas is just not going to ever be the same after this one.
It's a Wonderful Life, and it's all at upstream-ideas.com.
Second Amendment Sports is a beautiful new 4,000 square foot showroom with an outstanding selection of Ruger firearms and accessories. Choose from over 25 Rugers in stock, from Vaquero revolvers to 10/22 rifles. Enjoy great Ruger quality and pricing that includes an excellent warranty plus customer service. And you won't pay gun or Cook County taxes at Second Amendment. Ask about affordable memberships offering range time and discounts. Practice on one of 14 premium ventilated shooting range. For Christmas, a Second Amendment Sports gift card is perfect. Second Amendment Sports and Ruger, excellence in firearms. Call 815-385-5522 for information or visit secondamendsports.com, 815-385-5522, or online at secondamendsports.com. Head north to Second Amendment Sports in McHenry, Chicagoland's Ruger retail headquarters. Open 7 days a week, weekdays until 9, weekends until 6. Second Amendment Sports, safety, recreation, protection.
As the weather gets colder, you can't help but dream about spring and the warmer times of the year. Sure, the holidays are great, but another Chicago winter? Now is the time to look forward to and plan your warm weather special events like golf outings and weddings at the Bolingbrook Golf Club. Make wonderful memories. Enjoy the beautiful outdoor setting overlooking fountains and a lake. The perfect intimate atmosphere for your special day. The Bolingbrook Golf Club can accommodate 8 to 800 guests any time of the year, but spring and summer book fast. Go online now. BolingbrookGolfClub.com. Book your 2017 wedding or golf outing and receive 5 days and 4 nights at the Grand Mayan in Nuevo Vallarta or Puerto Vallarta with a master room and 2 rounds of golf at the Jack Nicklaus Design Course from Vedanta Resorts. Package includes hotel stay only and does not include airfare, ground transportation, or food and beverage, and is valued at $1,300. Restrictions apply. Speak with sales team for details. Log on to BolingbrookGolfClub.com and start planning. The Bolingbrook Golf Club, exceeding your expectations since 2002.
AM 560, The Answer.
Dan and Amy, they call him Duterte Harry.
Excuse. Duterte. Oh, is that
Like-
Duterte Harry?
As in Dirty Harry.
Oh.
Yeah, a little take on Dirty Harry. I'm talking, of course, about Rodrigo Duterte, who is the Philippines...
Rodrigo Duterte.
No. Is Philippines president. That is, I don't believe that is a Filipino accent.
That was really bad.
Yeah. So, you know, he's made a lot of international news, drawn the attention of human rights groups, and including Obama, by the way, who he basically told to go pound sand if he didn't like what he was doing. He doesn't care what Obama thinks.
Wait, did he rip on Obama's mom?
Called
her
yeah. He has drawn the attention because he has a very aggressive policy towards suspected drug dealers in the Philippines. He has them murdered. So that's fairly aggressive.
Without trial.
Well, yes,
Right.
correct.
I'm just saying.
Yeah,
They
no,
don't
that's
have
right.
a right to a fair trial.
Well, he apparently has taken it to a new level. This is a guy not afraid to get his hands dirty. He said in a speech this week that he personally kills drug dealers to show police officers that if he can do it, why can't you? I go around in Davao with a motorcycle with a big bike around, and I would just patrol the streets looking for trouble. Also, I was really looking for a confrontation so I could kill the president of the Philippines.
How does he kill him? Shot to the head? What's his?
He didn't get into the
What's
details.
his homicidal manners?
Now, his Justice Secretary said that
Justice Secretary.
Yes, Duterte Harry has a penchant for hyperbole. He just exaggerates to put a message across, said his Justice Secretary. I say Manny Pacquiao who is like a national hero in the Philippines, right? And he's also a member of the Filipino Congress.
Right.
I think he should stop fighting Timothy Bradley, and I think it's about time he step up and run for president of the Philippines.
Go ahead. Make my day.
There's only one radio show in Chicago talking about today's biggest stories and telling you what they really mean. That show is this one, Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560, The Answer.
That's Lisbeth. She doesn't know it, but she owes her life to a change in public opinion. Our younger generation of women is turning the tide of public opinion concerning abortion. The most recent statistics show that more women facing unwanted pregnancies are choosing life compared to 15 years ago. Many wonder why, if a pregnant woman and her unborn child are murdered, it's a double homicide. Yet they ask, why isn't abortion a crime? More women now value life, even if their unwanted child is to be placed for adoption, because they may feel like they can never forgive themselves of an abortion, even if the law does. Lake County Right to Life, helping young women choose courage over convenience. LCRTL.org. That's LCRTL.org. Visit Lake County Right to Life on Twitter and Facebook, or call 847-223-7022.
Gentlemen, Dan Proft here. This time of year can be exhausting and stressful, but if you feel a lack of energy or motivation, no matter what time of year, it's time to get your testosterone levels checked. Stress is associated with low testosterone and can worsen symptoms like fatigue, trouble sleeping, and can affect your mood. I personally recommend going to Low T Center. They make it easy. You walk in, take a simple blood test, and with the convenience of their on-site lab, you get your results in about 20 minutes. So if you're drinking coffee or energy drinks just to get you through the day, or if you always feel like you need a nap after lunch, you may have low T. Low T levels can make you feel tired and grumpy, raise your cholesterol, and even cause weight gain. Low T Center accepts most health insurance and is in network for most health insurance providers. Also has flexible hours, including Saturdays, so don't hesitate to find out what your number is. I'm sure glad I did. All of their services are FDA approved, by the way. So call my friends at Low T Center today and tell them I sent you. Call 630-409-4305. That number, 630-409-4305. Again, 630-409-4305, or go to lowtcenter.com.
Balance of Nature's fruits and veggies.
Oh, my goodness. I am so grateful for it. And my 85-year-old mother, even more so.
I love the product so far. It's been a little over a month now. And I feel great. It's incredible.
It's working good. It's amazing, Glue. I'm able to do more and I feel better. I like it.
With the tremendous success of Dr. Howard's free set of fruits and veggies giveaway and the 120-day health challenge, this holiday season we are doubling down. Call now and see how you can get your free month supply of fruits and veggies, plus a month supply of fiber and spice, free. Give the gift of health to yourself and loved ones, perhaps the greatest gift you'll ever give.
Call 800-2468-751. That's 800-2468-751. Or go online to balanceofnature.com. Use promo code CHICAGO.
Last winter was pretty much a piece of cake, but this winter, we're told, is gonna be a doozy.
Well, the Farmer's Almanac forewarns that bitterly cold, if not downright frigid, numbing cold weather will be predominating over these parts this winter.
Not looking good, but you can be ready. Smart businesses rely on Air Comfort to keep them and their customers warm this expected frigid winter. Air Comfort is one of the largest commercial and industrial service groups in the Chicago area, with dedicated factory-trained technicians that take a scientific approach to analyzing your system. They have comprehensive year-round preventative maintenance programs and emergency service, plus design, build, and install equipment for new construction and retrofits of existing mechanical systems. Now is a great time to call Air Comfort and schedule an analysis of your company's mechanical system by their certified award-winning engineering team. Call 708-345-1900 or visit aircomfort.com. Air Comfort, providing the right climate for business since 1935.
WIND Chicago News Time, 6 o'clock.
Fox News Radio. I'm Dave Anthony. President-elect Trump will thank his voters in Hershey, Pennsylvania today, continuing his victory tour as the debate rages about Russian interference into our election. House Republicans are upset the CIA is not sharing details of a controversial conclusion with them. Fox's Rachel Sutherland live in Washington.
Dave, the House Intelligence Committee was going to hold a briefing on alleged Russian interference into the election today, but it was abruptly canceled after the CIA declined to provide a briefer for the session. Republican New York Congressman Peter King says the intelligence community is violating protocols.
It's almost as if people in the intelligence community are carrying out a disinformation campaign against the president-elect of the United States. It's absolutely disgraceful.
The Office of the Director of National Intelligence says the intelligence community will brief Congress once a review requested by President Obama is complete. Dave.
Rachel, speaking of hacks, Yahoo users again being urged to change their password as the company reveals yet another data breach, twice as big as the one from 2014. This dates back to 3 years ago and involves more than 1 billion Yahoo user accounts. They got names and addresses, phone numbers, and security questions.
A lot of people use that same screen name or username or login. They use that for multiple sites. And of course, if they're using the same password, if that's released, they can get into multiple accounts from the same hack.
Data security consultant Will Donaldson in Syria. Activists claim civilians have finally started to board buses and ambulances in war-torn eastern Aleppo as a ceasefire holds this time. Earlier, 3 evacuees were reportedly wounded when pro-government forces shot at an ambulance. A lot of Americans are bundled up as a deep freeze hits.
Right now, I can't even feel my finger.
Miserable. Horrible. I hate it. I don't know why I live here.
They're in Chicago, where it feels like 16 below zero now. There are wind chill advisories or warnings from North Dakota to Maine. In Oregon, a half-foot of snow and ice caused spinouts and snarled traffic for hours. Fox News Radio, fair and balanced.
It is 2 above zero officially at O'Hare, 3 below in Aurora this morning at 6:02 on AM 560. The Answer. Good morning. I'm Mike Scott. Folks in Chicagoland will be experiencing that dangerously cold weather today. Wind chill advisory is in effect until late this morning. A number of area schools canceling classes or have late starts, some 1 hour, some 2 hour. However, the Chicago public schools are in session. An emergency department physician says right now it's important to know the signs of frostbite as temperatures outside begin to plummet.
One of the first signs or symptoms is you start to see skin changes and you lose sensation in that hand. And the important thing is that you don't rub it. You don't rub it to get it warm. You actually need to get out of the cold and start rewarming the area.
That's Dr. Tom Walters. Frostbite occurs when the skin is directly exposed to the cold. An attorney for a prominent Chicago alderman says his client will fight charges against him in a newly unveiled indictment. Willie Cochran's attorney spoke yesterday, Thomas Durkin, saying they'll fight the charges vigorously. Fellow Alderman Anthony Beal spoke about Cochran yesterday following news that he had been indicted.
The community already has a bad look on elected officials, and situations like this just kind of compounds that.
The indictment, among other things, accuses the alderman of pilfering about $30,000 from charitable funds to spend at casinos and to pay his daughter's college tuition. 1 person is dead, 4 others critically hurt following a crash in Posen. Officials say a vehicle slammed into multiple parked cars early this morning near 143rd and Harrison. Chicago sports, college hoops last night. Northern Illinois, Northwestern, Southern Illinois, and UIC, all winners. The news, a service of Burger King's breakfast. What's the best place to have your breakfast? How about on a warm croissant? And right now at Burger King, get 2 Croissandwich breakfast sandwiches for just $4. A light, flaky croissant, piled high with savory sausage or delicious, thick-cut smoked bacon. 2 Croissandwich, $4, only at Burger King. Price and participation vary. 6:04 and a check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Dennis Prager says it's hard to undo the damage from the left.
Many people on the left really do believe what they believe. There is a sincerity of belief.
The truth is, it's a big part of the problem.
So it's very, very difficult to undo the damage of beliefs that are utterly false.
The Dennis Prager Show, weekdays at 11, right before Sean Hannity at 2 on AM 560. The Answer.
I'm Nick Soboleski, a Select Quote agent with a true story that could save you hundreds of dollars a year. A woman named Linda just called. Her husband, Ray, has a $300,000 group life insurance policy, but is changing jobs and can't take it with him. Well, I impartially shopped the highly rated term life insurance companies we represent and found Ray, who is 41 and takes medication to control his cholesterol, a 10-year, $500,000 policy for under $26 a month. That's almost twice the coverage for less than half of what he had paid. If SelectQuote hasn't shopped for your life insurance, you're probably paying too much.
For your free quote, call 1-800-467-5125. That's 1-800-467-5125. 1-800-467-5125. Or go to SelectQuote.com. We shop. You save. Get full details on the example policy at SelectQuote.com/commercials. Your price can vary depending on your health, issuing company, and other factors not available in all states.
6:05, a check of the roads in the AM 560 traffic center. Here's Jim.
Thanks, Mike. In Northwest Indiana, the ramp from southbound I-65 to State Road 2 in Lowell has reopened after a much earlier overnight crash. The ensuing cleanup. Kennedy inbound, heavy out of the River Road toll to Canfield. 21 minutes, O'Hare to downtown, outbound fine at 20. All clear on the Edens, the Eisenhower. Delay start at 25th. 32 minutes, Thorndale to downtown, outbound fine at 29. Stevenson, 38 minutes, 355 to Lakeshore Drive. Ryan, 20 minutes, 95th to downtown. Bishop Ford, 22 minutes, 8094 to the Rhine. Tollways look good right now. Traffic service of Accountemps. Accounting and finance salaries are on the rise in 2017. Get an in-depth salary forecast for more than 400 accounting and finance roles in your area by visiting them at Accountemps.com. Accountemps, a Robert Half company. Traffic answers when you need them most. I'm Jim Talamonte on AM 560. The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast from the aircomfort.com Weather Center. Here's the latest on the forecast with Ashley Benoit.
Brisk and very cold today with sunshine mixing with some clouds. Extreme cold can be dangerous for outdoor activities, high 8. Mostly cloudy and frigid tonight. A little late night snow with little or no accumulation, low 2, but temperatures rising to the lower teens. I'm Ashley Benoit for AM 560, The Answer.
Currently 0 at O'Hare, 3 above along the lakefront, -3 this morning in Aurora. Your next news update is at 6:30. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by Get Down to Business with Shalom Klein, the show for business and jobs powered by Tandem HR. Heard Sunday evenings at 6.
Good morning. Welcome to your Thursday morning briefing. Here's what you need to know to start your day.
I'm here to help you folks do well. And we're going to be there for you. And you'll call my people, you'll call me. It doesn't make any difference. We have no formal chain of command.
There's ample evidence that was known long before the election, and even in most cases long before October, that Russia was involved.
And when it comes to Mr. Tillerson, here's what he's got to do to convince me. I want to hear from him if he believes the Russians tried to interfere in our election. They're trying to destabilize democracies throughout the world. If he doesn't believe that, I would have a hard time voting for him.
This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560. The Answer.
Good morning, Dan and Amy. I got a question for you. It's one about culture. One of my constant refrains, everything starts with culture. Everything is an outgrowth of culture. What about the culture in the military and how that may change, particularly at the Pentagon with one Mad Dog Mattis in charge?
Mm-hmm.
And I asked the question about culture, or raised the issue of culture in the context of this. Transgender Day of Remembrance at West Point. Transgender Day of West Point. The U.S. Military
That's
Academy.
an Onion article, right, Dan?
No. The U.S. Military Academy at West Point held their 4th annual Transgender Day of Remembrance. The attendance was mandatory.
What?
Yeah. It was to remember transgender people who were killed.
Yeah. Murdered as a result of transphobia.
Yeah. Hate crimes.
It happens every November 20th.
It does.
It's Transgender Day of Remembrance. Yes, it's an actual day.
One critic of the event, Ray Starman, who's the editor-in-chief of U.S. Defense Watch, said, this is a good example of how politicians have forgotten the mission of the military is to defend the country. He said the ceremony is the result of social engineers who are cultural Marxists and guys at the top who won't put their foot down, resulting in more political correctness. And he's hoping that maybe a Mad Dog Mattis as defense secretary will change the culture in the U.S. military and at the Pentagon. 312-642-5600, turnkey.pro answer line, 64636DA, turnkey.pro text line. You have any concerns about this? Cadet, class of 2017, Cadet Riley Dosh opened the event this year, saying, over the past year, innocent transgender people worldwide have lost their lives due to hate crimes.
Where's the proof of that?
Many more proof. Come on, he's feeling.
Where are the facts?
Many more died due to bias and hatred based on gender identity and expression. They were killed for coming out to friends and family for being who they are. They were killed for coming out to friends and family for being who they. So what? They were killed by their friends and family. Their lives were cut too short unnecessarily. Or they turned out to be enemies of the state, like Chelsea Manning. Nay, Bradley Manning. Remember him?
Oh yeah, her. Shim.
Well, here's the thing about that. When do we have Jewish Day at West Point? When do we have Jewish Day at West Point? Because if the threshold is hate crimes, it turns out that so-called hate crimes, and by the way, I loathe this phrase, every kind of crime's a hate crime. You violate me because you don't like me based on my race or my religion, or just because you don't like me, it's the same violation. What is it? The whole layering on hate crime? What is it? It's just moralizing. I don't even understand. It's silly. It's
about
silly.
Duty, honor country, and not about
Thank you.
taking time to honor transgenders who maybe or maybe not were killed this year. It has happened in the past, yes. There's no denying that. But to have a Transgender Day of Remembrance and have our military institutions take time out to honor that?
Duty, honor country. Thank you, General MacArthur.
Seems a little off.
Perhaps
our priorities aren't in line.
Perhaps a PIO position under Mad Dog Mattis is in your future. So here's the thing about hate crimes. These are FBI uniform crime stats from 2015.
Oh, thank goodness you have.
The incidence of hate crimes among various groups. Blacks, 4.1 per 100,000. Muslims, 7.8 per 100,000. Jews, 11.6 per 100,000. So when do we have Jewish Remembrance Day at West Point? If that's the standard of hate crime, the incidence of hate crime is the standard. That is the group that, according to the FBI stats, has been most subjected to hate crimes. I mean, if you're categorizing by group. What about that?
Well, according to Advocate.com, there were 26 transgender people killed in 2016.
Mm-hmm. Do those that commit suicide, is that a hate crime against yourself? I want to understand the standard, I guess, is my point. Here's another cultural issue. The life issue. Governor John Kasich of Ohio in the news again this week with his Solomonic decision to veto one pro-life bill and sign another. He vetoed a bill that would have prohibited abortions once a fetal heartbeat could be detected, fearing that it would not pass constitutional muster. He did, however, sign a second bill into law, banning abortions after 20 weeks of pregnancy, providing an exception for saving the life of a mother. Saving the life of the mother, I suppose. What about that? It's an interesting kind of prefatory note to the looming fights over judicial appointments, and in particular, the replacement of Antonin Scalia. 20-week ban on abortion. What do you think? I know you wrestle with this issue.
I thought he was going to sign it, if that's what I thought that he was. And so the last minute when he didn't.
You mean the
surprising.
heartbeat bill?
Yeah, the heartbeat bill. I thought that he was going to sign it, didn't you?
I wasn't sure because
everything was pointing in that direction.
He had telegraphed previously that he wasn't sure the heartbeat bill could survive a constitutional challenge. Much more confident about the 20-week bill, which is similar to Texas and that whole fight that gave rise to that ghoul Wendy Davis, who ran for governor and got smoked by Greg Abbott. But the 20-week abortion ban. I mentioned this before, I think, when we talked about Texas and when Wendy Davis was trying to make such an issue of it there. That is the same policy that France has. That's how radically conservative it is. France.
France has. Yeah. Oh, really?
I mean, but that shouldn't be an argument for or against that somebody else has a similar law in place. The question is, does it make sense? Is that something that you support? And it's worth noting that trying to just kind of dismiss it as the fulminations of the right, well, okay, it's the same thing in France. A related story, a couple of related stories. Chuck Grassley, the senator from your de facto home state of Iowa, announced this week that he has referred Planned Parenthood and several of its local affiliates to the FBI and the Justice Department for investigation and possible persecution. It's good to see Republicans remain emboldened on this issue. They're the result of Grassley's committee's investigation into the sale of baby body parts in violation of federal law. And boy, you got a new Justice Department coming in January, and this is another issue that perhaps a Jeff Sessions will take up, where, of course, the Obama Justice Department would never. So for those who thought, oh, well, this has all gone away, and Cecile the Lion Richards, the head of Planned Parenthood, and all of those that were running interference for her in Congress, they're just going to make it disappear. It doesn't have to be that way. Does not have to be that way. You've got pro-life advocates there. You've got people who saw those videos for what they were, those undercover videos that the Center for Medical Progress did, heard in plain English what the ghouls in charge of Planned Parenthood said about the sale of baby body parts, haggling over price. So if it's just a reimbursement, why are you haggling over price, right? So all of the arguments of the left.
She wanted a Lamborghini, right?
Yeah, right. One of them did, right. And so all the arguments of the left are laid fallow by the actual evidence on those videos. And so that's still out there, but it requires constant pressure. Politicians respond to pressure. So if this is important to you, continue to put the pressure on politicians, because Planned Parenthood doesn't stop. The left doesn't stop. In Idaho, Planned Parenthood has sued Brandy Swindell, the founder and director of Stanton Healthcare Center in Boise. Swindell is a pro-lifer, well known in the pro-life movement. She established a nonprofit free pregnancy and healthcare center after an experience with a friend who had an abortion changed her heart forever. She saw the pain and emotional despair in the aftermath of her friend's abortion, knew there had to be a better way to help frightened women in desperate situations. So she spent years networking, fundraising. She purchased a building to house Stanton Services. The building happens to be direct neighbors of a Planned Parenthood mill. From the beginning, of course, Planned Parenthood none too pleased about it and began making complaints and so on and so forth. And again, she provides at this healthcare center in Boise free healthcare services for women. Because, right, so who's on the side of women's healthcare and who isn't? Again?
And where are tax dollars going?
When Stanton began a mobile healthcare clinic, which sometimes parks in common areas of the complex, that was just too much for Planned Parenthood to stomach, so they slapped her with a lawsuit alleging misuse and abuse of common areas in the business district in which both entities are housed, and claimed that the clinic invites people to use the common area to protest and cause nuisance. So here's a woman who's providing healthcare services to women, complimentary, after raising money, starting this Healthcare Center, and Planned Parenthood suing them because suing her because they disagree. So the left never stops. They never stop with their days of remembrance to advance their solidarity and marginality protocol. They never stop with the bigot baiting. They never stop with harassing and litigating those with whom they disagree. And boy, there's a new opportunity with the new leadership of this country and the new leadership in so many states, as the Republican Party is the supermajority party in this country, to start to push back against a culture that has been rejected. But if you don't push back against it, if you just allow it to continue on because it's a fight, well, then you become the Illinois Republican Party. And you go from a majority party once upon a time to a super minority party. You better take up the fights you said you would take up if you were given a chance to take them up. Otherwise, they will be lost for another generation.
Before you see it on TV, share it on Facebook, or read about it in the paper. Hear it here first. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Dangerously cold out there. We have a wind chill advisory in effect until 10 o'clock this morning. 0 degrees right now, -3 in Aurora. A high today of 8. But if you factor in the wind chill, it could be anywhere from -20 to -30. It's at -18 right now. Let's get those travel times and say good morning once again to Jim Talamonte.
Good morning, Amy. Good morning, Dan. The train has broken down on Metra's Heritage Corridor lines. There's some delays with the train right now stopped in Lockport. Posen Harrison Avenue remains blocked off at 143rd and 145th after an overnight wreck. Eden's 22 minutes, Lake Hook to Montrose. Kennedy, 23 minutes, O'Hare to downtown, outbound 20. The Eisenhower's 35 minutes, Thorndale to the post office, outbound 30. Stevenson, 40 minutes, 355 to Lakeshore Drive. Got a car fire reported at Cicero outbound on the left shoulder. Ryan, 21 minutes, 95th to downtown. Tollways are pretty light. Northwest Indiana's good. I'm Jim Talamonte, the AM 560 Traffic Center.
Hey, have you ever accidentally deleted a file and gone into panic mode? Are you still trying to figure out cloud migration? Do you know how to implement a hybrid integration? Well, if you want to save time and money, then let the professionals at Turnkey IT customize a solution that's sized just right for your company. For 20 years now, locally owned and operated, Turnkey IT has become the brand businesses trust for their IT needs. Why? Well, Turnkey IT understands small businesses just like yours. They have monthly plans available for your team of 100 or a plan customized for your individual system. Turnkey IT has a solution. They even have equipment included if you want to go all in. You know, their team of professionals help users every day with network monitoring to help desk to on-site support 24/7, 365 days a year. So stop worrying about your technology and let it work for you. Visit turnkey.pro today to see how simple and affordable it can be to focus on your business without worrying about the technical stuff. That's turnkey.pro.
Hi, I'm Mary Beth. I had a failed root canal and it was causing me pain. Dr. Neruzzi took care of my tooth and I got my implant, and then I had another after that fail and he did that one as well. Places they'll tell you just, get the implant the day you get your tooth extracted. We'll do it all in one day. And he believes you do it all the right way, and he knows what he's doing, and he has an eye for detail that other dentists or periodontists do not have. There's no surprises because it's scary as it is, but he made it really, really comfortable. They're very accommodating to people that cannot afford to have it done. I would recommend Dr. Neruzzi to anybody, and I have given Dr. Neruzzi referrals, and I would refer him to anybody that's missing teeth.
This is Dr. Neruzzi. I personally guarantee your happiness with your implants. Go to implantsforme.com.
For missing teeth, dental implants are wonderful. The advantages are fantastic. Just remember, implantsforme.com. Implantsforme.com.
I'm worried that my employees are costing me a fortune every month in damaged or missing inventory. I'm not sure how to solve this problem or who to turn to.
Alarm Detection Systems installs video cameras that watch over your place of business, reduce loss, and increase profits with advanced security. ADS is an authorized Honeywell equipment dealer. Visit adsalarm.com or call 630-844-6300. Alarm license number 127000143.
I can't get the alarm company on the phone to save my life. My alarm's going off all the time, and I don't know why. It's driving me crazy.
Call Alarm Detection Systems. We have live reps answering our phones 24/7, 365. No auto attendant. Call 630-844-6300. Get better customer service in return. Alarm Detection Systems is an authorized Honeywell equipment dealer. Visit adsalarm.com. Alarm license number 127000143.
AM 560, The Answer.
Dan and Amy, just talking about these hate crimes and culture and so forth. This story, be careful about everything you read before there's some verification.
Oh.
Yeah,
you want to start with yours or mine? Because I came in here crying the other day in tears about this beautiful story I heard about a 5-year-old boy who was dying in Knoxville, Tennessee.
Well, we'll start with mine, and then we'll go to yours.
I started telling the story. It was so sad.
All right.
I'll dab my tears, and you tell your story.
All right. An 18-year-old Muslim college student who claimed that 3 men screaming "Donald Trump" attacked her on a Manhattan subway platform is now being charged with filing a false report after she admitted she made up the incident. Brew College student Yasmin Saweed told police she boarded the Uptown train, the number 6 train, and she was called a terrorist by 3 drunken young white men. And they followed her and tried to pull off her hijab.
The hijab?
Hijab.
Dad.
Just kidding. Relax.
The hijab.
Yeah.
The
and except none of it's true.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Maybe she was afraid that night. She was running late, said her father.
Oh, really?
Maybe she's got a bit of a political ideology problem like so many on the left. Like, for example, D.C. school spokeswoman Hillary Tone. She's a comm director for the D.C. Public Schools.
These are 2 stories. Yes, go
Well, just quickly.
Yeah, no,
there's the story of Rick Perry's chosen to run an agency he once threatened to abolish. In response to that, she wrote on Twitter, she tweeted, "In that case, I would like to be Secretary of White Men." D.C. Public Schools, 13% of the kids there are white. Half of those white students are male. Interesting. Yeah, I guess, where hate's directed, I guess, is kind of situationally ethical for the left. So I just thought I'd share those stories. Now, your story about
a dying 5-year-old
about
boy.
fake news, I guess.
Casey, can you please play? No. A 5-year-old boy in Knoxville, Tennessee, this happened allegedly in November. He had cancer. He was dying, and his last wish was to see Santa. And so Santa came to his hospital bed, was holding him, and he said, "Santa, when I get to heaven, how will I know whether or not they'll let me in?" And Santa looked at the little boy and said, "Knock on and tell him that you're one of Santa's elves and the pearly gates will open." I mean, it was just, and then the person who played Santa in this newspaper article looked in. He looks pretty much like the real life Santa. I mean, this is not a costume. This is what he looks like. It was all a lie. Because I was reading the story and then I kept Googling it. Like, what is the actual date that it happened? Where was this hospital that it happened at? What's the family's name? I know I can't use the name, but the boy's first name. And it was all a lie. It appeared in the Knoxville News Sentinel, and I'm sure you read that publication, right?
Yeah.
And the editor came out and said that we cannot verify the story that was written by Schmidt-Mattson. Therefore, because the story does not meet the newspaper's standards of verification, we are no longer standing by the veracity of Schmidt-Mattson's account.
I was wondering where Jason Blair, former New York Times reporter, had wound up and what he changed his name to, and now I guess we know.
But it was a well-written article. I mean, it made you cry, and then, news outlets all over the country retold the story, and people were crying hysterical at this story, and it was all fake news.
Did they have any news that you could use the Knoxville Sentinel on Dolly Parton? I know you're...
I love Dolly Parton.
I know you're a big fan.
Do not. I love Dolly Parton.
I know you do.
I drove to Dollywood because I love her that much. I die for Dolly. I go to jail for Dolly.
Connect with Dan and Amy on the AM 560 The Answer mobile app. Just text the word app to 64636 to download the app today.
A couple years ago, I had a severe accident which disabled my right hand and caused chronic pain. I did not want to deal with the side effects of pain meds. There is absolutely no reason to suffer. There are ways to find a solution and get off the drugs. I definitely believe Dr. Candido found that for me, and immediately, he sat down with me, really wanted to find the source of the pain and really fix me. And, I've seen many doctors in my lifetime, obviously with this accident, but I have to say Dr. Kenneth Candido, he cares about me. It's changed my life. I absolutely would recommend Dr. Kenneth Candido. There is a light at the end of the tunnel.
This is Ken Candido of Chicago Anesthesia Pain Specialists. If you or someone you love or someone you know has chronic pain, contact us. Treating chronic pain issues is what we do. We can make it better. Get an appointment and let's talk. MyPainChicago.com, MyPainChicago.com. All the info is available at MyPainChicago.com. Let's make you pain-free.
Hey, it's bitterly cold here, don't you know? 0 degrees right now, but I know where it's warm somewhere, I should say, and that's Punta Cana in the Dominican Republic, and that's where we're heading in 2017. We'll be staying at the Secrets Cap Cana Resort and Spa. It's an unlimited luxury resort that just opened in November, so it's brand spanking new. Adults only, 5 gourmet restaurants, 7 bars, a cigar bar for Dan and his friends. Serving unlimited premium drinks and 24-hour room service. You know the drill. It's got all the bells and whistles, sparkling pools, pristine beaches. So join us in Punta Cana and have the vacation of a lifetime with us. Give the gift of travel this holiday season. Get more information and book your trip by visiting 560theanswer.com, keyword passport. Now, the price that Apple Vacations has secured for this trip is incredible and exclusive only to us, so don't miss out. Visit 560theanswer.com, keyword passport. Coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
At 6:36, Politico reporter accuses Trump of incest.
And then what role will the first family have once Trump becomes president? But first, into the newsroom we go. Here's Mike Scott.
Amy and Dan, Syrian activists say residents in eastern Aleppo are finally starting to board buses and ambulances. Step one, they say, of an evacuation, part of the rebel enclave's effective surrender. The White House says a bill continuing U.S. sanctions against Iran for 10 years will become law without the president's signature. White House saying today the sanctions will not affect the rolling out of the new international agreement they say limits Iran's nuclear program. Taxpayers will be spending nearly $10 billion more next year to cover up double-digit premium hikes for subsidized health insurance under President Barack Obama's signature Affordable Care Act. An analysis from the Center for Health and Economy says the cost of premium subsidies will rise from $32.8 billion to $42.6 billion. Yahoo says if you have ever had a Yahoo account, now or in the past, your password and your email addresses were likely stolen. It happened to Lynn Bartholomew.
Somebody got hold of all of my contacts and just sprayed all of them with nonsense, and I was getting a couple emails from people that said, "Is this you? What's going on?"
Hackers stole information from more than 1 billion users in August of 2013. Forecasters say it was rare in Portland, Oregon. They could get more snow today. A rare storm brought the city to a halt yesterday. National Weather Service says commuters should be prepared for more snow today. No real accumulation, but just a flake or two brings that entire northwest U.S. city to a halt. People here in Chicago used to the snow, but there is dangerous cold out there today, a wind chill advisory in effect till late this morning. One person is dead, 4 others critically hurt following a crash in Posen near 143rd and Harrison. And a man is charged with stealing packages in west suburban Aurora. Police tell us Moses Williamson was taken into custody after officers caught him taking packages from porches on Root and 4th Streets. Investigators believe he may have been involved in several other incidents. Chicago sports, Northern Illinois, Northwestern, Southern Illinois, and UIC, all winners in college basketball last night. The news, a service of Hum by Verizon. Hum by Verizon is all the smart technology you need to upgrade to a safer, more connected car. Plug it in for amazing features like emergency assistance, vehicle diagnostics, vehicle location, and boundary alerts. Upgrade your car with Hum today at hum.com. Hum, put some smarts in your car. 6:34, a check of traffic and weather on the way next. on AM 560.
Sean Hannity believes we need to build a cyber wall.
I've been saying that we need to fix cybersecurity. We need to beef it up. Well, Obama's known about this for the entire presidency of his. And what has he done to fix it? The only thing he's done is now speak out, 5 weeks after the election? Because it may advance a narrative to delegitimize Donald Trump?
The Sean Hannity Show. Afternoons at 2, right before Joe Walsh at 5 on AM 560. The Answer.
If your family loves the great outdoors, there's only one place to go for this season. Cabela's Christmas sale. Plus, hurry in Saturday for 8 a.m. doorbusters at Cabela's in Hoffman Estates.
As a parent, nothing fills you with pride more than your child excelling at something they love. For some, it's sports. For others, photography. At Center Stage Dance Studio in Bloomingdale at Stratford Square Mall, it's dance. Children of all ages have embraced dance at Center Stage for years. And now with their new state-of-the-art 11,000 square foot location, there's the new Little Princess birthday party room, homework room, new eating area, and a new separate secure entrance. Daily Herald readers voted Center Stage one of the best dance studios in the DuPage County area. From 2-year-olds to competitive dancers, classes exist for all styles of expression. Tap, jazz, ballet, lyrical, even tumbling classes. Dancer Magazine voted Center Stage one of the top 25 dance studios in North America. Their professional staff has over 125 years of combined teaching experience. Register for classes today. Call 630-529-9080 or visit CenterStageDanceOnline.com. Center Stage Dance Studio, upper level at Stratford Square Mall in Bloomingdale, just outside of Macy's.
It is 6:36. Time to check the climate of your business with AirComfort.com, providing the right climate for business since 1935. Let's get an update on the roads at our AM 560 Traffic Center. Here is Jim Talamonte.
Thanks, Mike. Inbound Edens traffic is stop and go. Niles Center to the junction, 27 minutes. Lake Cook to Montrose, outbound 20. Kennedy, 30 minutes. O'Hare to downtown, outbound 24. Eisenhower's 40 minutes. Thorndale to the post office, outbound 31. Stevenson, 43 minutes, 355 to Lakeshore Drive, at outbound 55. Jam Kedzie to Central with car fire in the 2 left lanes. Ryan, 22 minutes, 95th to downtown. Bishop Ford, 20 minutes, 8094 to the Ryan. Tollways are good. Traffic is the service of Subway. Now at Subway, Thursday is Italian BMT Day. That's today's 356-inch sub of the day. The Italian BMT has no artificial flavors or colors from artificial sources. For just $3.50, it's a great sub for a great price. There's a different 356-inch sub every day, only at Subway. Traffic answers when you need them most. I'm Jim Talamonte on AM 560, The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast from the AirComfort.com Weather Center. Brisk, very cold, with some clouds and sun today. Some of those extreme wind chills could be dangerous. High of 8. Currently 0 at O'Hare, 2 above along the lakefront, 3 below in Aurora. And your next news update is at 7. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by Real Estate Revealed with Randy Barcella. Heard each and every Sunday at 8 a.m. on AM 560, The Answer.
If you're talking about it, I'll be talking about it. Dennis Prager here. Join me this morning at 11, right here on AM 560, The Answer.
Good morning, Dan and Amy. So all of the Trump kids were seated at that tech exec meeting that Trump had. You know,
oh, yeah.
All of the
they were all in the little left-hand corner there. Did you see him?
Yeah, all of his sons, and not Tiffany, but
never Tiffany.
But the other kids who, well, she spoke at the convention.
No, I know, but she's probably going to go to grad school.
Okay, well, good for her.
Yeah.
So they were at there, and you know, Ivanka has taken a high-profile role in some of these meetings. You saw her pictured with
Kanye West,
with her father and Kanye the other day. Julie,
yeah, but more disturbing is Eric Trump. He interviewed Mitt Romney for the Secretary of State position. The first time that when they went to the golf club in New Jersey. Yeah, they had a one-on-one portion where they talked.
And he found him wanting, so that shows Eric Trump has good judgment. By the way, have you made your $50?
No, but I'm going to.
going to have to make sure that I'm going to have to get an audit from Food for the Poor to make sure
Okay.
that contribution.
I donate
is
every year
registered.
to the charity that we pair up with.
All right.
So it's not if, it's when. Okay.
Just want to make sure we don't have a welcher in the studio.
Okay.
We can't have that.
So the question is, how much power are the kids going to have once their dad becomes president? Or
Yeah.
do they already have the power and they're just kind of being oblivious because you really can't run the family business and then sit in on political meetings?
Well, let me put.
Or is there something? Is there a rule against that?
Well, let me put the question a different way. The way Julia Ioffe from Politico did. Oh, she's leaving Politico. She's been hired by The Atlantic. Oh, these deep thinking pieces that The Atlantic provides. They must be very proud of their new hire, Julia Ioffe. She was, by the way, part of the panel we played the other day with Brian Stelter from CNN, where they were talking about Trump's election being a national crisis, and the media needs to start reporting on it as a national crisis. Julia Ioffe tweeted, either Trump is effing his daughter or he's shirking nepotism laws. Which is worse?
312-642-5600 is our turnkey.pro answer line. 64636, type in DA, then a quick comment. If I were that woman's boss, she would be fired on the spot. She would not be transitioning over into The Atlantic by any means. She should never write again. I mean,
Well,
it's vile.
She can write.
Well,
I don't know
it's
why.
vile and it's cruel and it's way out of line.
And it's a temper tantrum. She's a child. It's a profane temper tantrum. She's a hysteric. She's just exposed herself as an unserious person. And I mean, I guess if Politico or The Atlantic want unserious people as their reporters, so they'll have a lot of company. She'll have company there. But I just want people to memorialize this tweet and remember this name, because when you hear from all of the high-minded types on the left, and you are subjected to the so-called thought pieces from James Fallows over The Atlantic or some others, every time I think about that, or we have the opportunity to interview some of these individuals, I'm going to ask them about this. You know, the same way that they would ask us to respond to anything David Duke says, or somebody else that actually has no connection to anything that resembles the legitimate conservative movement or the Republican Party. But they try to play that guilt by association game. Okay, well, that runs both ways. So remember Julia Ioffe, if I'm pronouncing her name right. I mean, she's an irrelevancy other than the fact that she's employed by one of these outlets that we're supposed to take seriously, not a fake news outlet that we're supposed to have respect for. And this is Political Reporter, and this is how she's going to cover the President of the United States?
She tried to walk it back.
Yeah, I bet she did.
She tried to apologize, and she says, we have a president-elect who polarized, saying what everyone is thinking, quote unquote, but I guess my phrasing should have been more delicate.
That's an apology?
That was her,
That's an
that
apology
was the apology
for,
tweet.
She said she accused him of committing crimes, by the way. Either way, he's violating the law, nepotism laws, or he's committing incest. I should have phrased that differently. That's not a great apology. That doesn't sound like an apology to me. She's not sufficiently shamed or embarrassed.
Oh, it gets better.
She sounds like she feels justified in making the assertion. Maybe I should have used a euphemism for, sex.
Two tweets later. All that said, I do regret my phrasing.
Yeah.
And apologize for it. It was a crass joke that I genuinely regret.
Yeah. No.
It's not. It's vile.
It's
ugly.
I don't accept your apology. Sorry. I don't believe it's a real apology.
Oh, wait, but there's more. It was tasteless, offensive.
Yeah.
And I regret, and I've deleted it. Oh, so that makes it all better. If you delete your tweet. Oh, nobody picked up on it, really.
Right.
You delete your tweet and everything's fine.
Nice catch, dailycaller.com. That's where I saw it.
But one thing, I mean, they're making a big deal that Eric and Donald Jr. actively interviewed cabinet members. And I told you this is going to happen, that Ivanka is going to be the first lady. Not Melania. Melania's going to stay in her, tower, her pie in the sky in Manhattan on Fifth Avenue with Barron.
Deluxe apartment in the sky.
Yes, and
She's
Ivanka
moving on
Trump
up.
is moving into the East Wing. that is formerly Michelle Obama's office, and they're calling it the First Family Office. Now, unlike Melania and Barron, Ivanka and her husband Kush, they're going to move to Washington, D.C.
Kush. Is that a Jerry Maguire rip?
Yeah, I love it. And Kush has an office in the West Wing.
It's not as good as Rexon.
Oh, yeah, Rexon's good. But so Kush is going to be in an office near the Oval Office on the west side. And so, I don't know.
Are you going to be the social secretary or the
I'm vying for
office
it right
manager?
now. But Spicer, who's the RNC spokesperson right now, he told everyone that we're not hiding anything.
Every one of those people was listed on the transition team website. They're all been named as senior part of it. So this is a totally transparent process. The people that he has trusted, he's made it very clear how much he values the input of his family. He put their names on the transition committee. But he has been unbelievably transparent in the role that his family will play in this. I think from day one, not just recently, since going back to that debate in August of last year, he was very clear of the role that the family was going to play in the campaign, in the government, and in his business.
So we're not getting a first lady. We're getting a first family.
Sean Spicer likely to be the White House press secretary, too.
Oh, and Katrina Pearson, she was at Trump Tower right after Kanye West because she wants to be press secretary,
she's
too.
Back. Well, she's not going to be press secretary. Sean Spicer's going to be press secretary. Mark it down. I'll bet you that $50 you owe me. Well,
no, I think that he will, too.
Okay.
Sean
right.
Spicer.
So we
There's
agree.
no disagreement there. And he deserves the position. He's good.
And any concerns about the Trump family influence participation? 312-642-5600 turnkey.pro answer line. And then there's this other matter too announced yesterday. Trump not going with Carly for RNC chairman. Sorry, hate to break it to you. Going with Mitt Romney's niece.
Oh,
Ronna Romney McDaniel, who is
Hello,
the
Ronna Romney.
Hi, how are you? She is the Michigan Republican Party chairperson.
Okay.
She just got into politics. She's relatively young, 43. I mean, it's young compared to you. Oh,
wow.
No, stop.
You know what? That was hate speech.
Oh, wait, where's Julia Iof's apology? I regret that crass comment. Okay, so McDaniel, she just started her career in 2012 working for her uncle's presidential campaign. She went to the RNC in 2014, so forth. But this shows, again, interesting strategic political thinking by Trump. One, you're rewarding Michigan, which was a huge victory.
Huge.
And number two, even though you gave Romney short shrift with the position he wanted, you include a family member there, and, that dulls the blade of passing over Mitt for Secretary of State. How about that?
Put a little Band-Aid on it.
How about that? Everybody wins.
But quickly back to Ivanka. The only point of contention that I have, is that she believes in climate change. I mean, she has her father's ear, and she's pro-choice.
Yes.
And she's pro-family leave. So she's going to be filling the role, I think, of how Hillary Clinton, what her duties were when Bill Clinton was president during his terms.
The only thing I'd say about that, I think those are legitimate issues to raise. If she's going to have a significant advisory role, then what does she think? We know some of the things she thinks, and they're not consistent with conservative policy thought.
Yeah, she doesn't want to
conservative policy solutions.
Doesn't want to defund Planned Parenthood.
But because she has certain positions doesn't mean that her father does. Doesn't mean that the cabinet secretaries that will be advising as well do. And we'll see who wins the day. We'll see if she becomes a bit of a Valerie Jarrett, like a shadowy power center in the White House or not. I think it's open for discussion. I don't think having your family around you is bad. I don't think listening to what Ivanka has to say, what other people have to say is bad. But ultimately, it's going to be Trump who's held accountable to act in furtherance of what he said he would do if elected.
Right, but Donald Trump's putting a lot on their plate because not only are they making political decisions or advising their father, but they're also running the family business. So we're getting some blurred lines going here, folks.
Well, it's not. You can be a private citizen and also be a volunteer in politics.
Can you? I'm just.
Yes, this is a free country, so I can be a private citizen. I can run a business, and then I can participate in politics.
And you can have an office in the West Wing next to the Oval Office.
Well, this is a unique case because it's a family member, but family members have been in the Oval Office before and had advisory roles. The first ladies are not elected to anything, and they've had advisory roles. So what's the difference? Scott on the West Side, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Hey, Dan and Amy.
Thanks for taking my call. Yeah, it was Bill Clinton who said that when Hillary was elected, we were going to get 2 for 1. And I don't mind the family being there. I think they've done him well so far in life. And we're going to get 4 or 5 or whatever it's going to end up being for 1 in Donald Trump. I think he's close to his family, and I think they'll do us right.
All right, thanks for the call, Scott. David in Lake Forest.
You know, I have great misgivings about Jared Kushner being in the White House. I mean, he is the ultimate child of privilege who's been settling scores about his convicted felon father and all of the nastiness that went on in that family amongst own family members, and what he's been doing since he got access to literally billions of dollars of the family fortune. I think Chris Christie can speak to the wrath of Jared Kushner.
Well,
his dad is a convicted felon.
Yeah,
Charles Kushner.
He was convicted of illegal campaign contributions, tax evasion, witness tampering, served some time in prison about a decade ago. The only thing I would say, Chris Christie, I don't know that was settling a score, and I don't know that came from Jared Kushner. You know, there's a lot of rumors about the depth of legal trouble Chris Christie is in New Jersey. Like, there's some people that I know out there who've suggested that an indictment is not beyond the realm of possibility. So you can understand why the administration wanted to create some distance between Christie and Trump. And, you know, that's a heavy lift. That's a heavy lift.
Oh.
To create some distance.
Get it? Do you think he can get his money back for the lap band surgery?
It's like a hot, steaming cup of information to start your day. It's Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560, The Answer.
I'm Lou Dobbs, assessing the Federal Reserve's interest rate hike. That story next.
Bill Bennett here to tell you about Augusta Precious Metals. Attention, investors. Your IRA or your 401k may be at risk again. The 2008 crash wiped out up to 50% of IRAs and 401ks. Can you afford to lose again? What if you could store IRA or 401k savings where you can see, touch, and hold it in your hands? With the Augusta Gold or Silver IRA, you transfer a portion of retirement savings into physical coins you can actually see and get fast in case of any disaster. Call Augusta Precious Metals today for a free gold and silver IRA guide. No obligation. Augusta Precious Metals, A+ Better Business Bureau rating, 98% 5-star customer satisfaction rating with TrustLink.org. Trust Augusta. Call Augusta Precious Metals today at 1-855-222-6993. That's 1-855-222-6993. One more time, 1-855-222-6993.
Wall Street dipped a bit yesterday on the Fed's interest rate hike. Most observers had been expecting the quarter-point boost since September. But credit card companies and banks with variable rate mortgages will also soon begin to raise customer charges. Economic reports today include the Consumer Price Index, an update on jobless claims, and business outlooks from Philadelphia and New York. Amazon has begun drone delivery of its products in the United Kingdom. The online retailing giant there promising deliveries in under 30 minutes for packages that weigh 5 pounds or less. An unidentified American car maker will be penalized for what the Chinese government calls anti-competitive behavior in China. One source says General Motors is the target. Please join me for Lou Dobbs tonight, 7 and 11 Eastern on the Fox Business Network. This is the Lou Dobbs Financial Report.
Hey, it's hard sleeping on a flat pillow, flip-flopping during the night, waking up feeling unrested. So I suggest you order a MyPillow today. MyPillow has a patented interlocking fill that adjusts your individual sleep needs. It's washable, dryable, manufactured in America, and guaranteed not to go flat for 10 years. Wow, that lasts longer than some marriages. So if you're thinking about that tough person to buy for on your holiday list, then now's the best time to buy. For a limited time, when you buy one MyPillow, you'll receive another MyPillow absolutely free, plus 2 Go Anywhere pillows. And the money-back guarantee, well, it's extended through March 1st. So go to MyPillow.com, click the Radio Listener Special tab, and use the promo code Amy. Again, 2 premium MyPillows and 2 Go Anywhere MyPillows, all for the price of one. MyPillow.com, or call 800-489-0201. That's 800-489-0201.
Hey, you've heard how Automated Systems excels at assisting companies with systems integration and FDA compliance, but they're also a staffing leader. They supply handpicked elite leadership, subject matter experts, and proven technical professionals in engineering, quality control, and FDA compliance to support the life sciences field in executing mission-critical projects. ASI provides highly specialized pros to deliver projects on time and budget. Don't pay a lot more to a big consulting firm, and don't trust the big temp agencies to supply the talent you need. Call Laz, my friend Laz at Automated Systems, when failure isn't an option. ASI is retained by all of Chicagoland's Fortune 500 life sciences companies, from big pharma to startups, and excel through a culture of excellence in execution. For a staffing, compliance, or automation evaluation, call Laz now at Automated Systems at 844-HIRE-ASI or visit AutomatedSYS.com. That's 844-HIRE-ASI or AutomatedSYS.com. Hey, the season just got a little bit more special thanks to the MJ Miller & Company Holiday Catalog, Christmas Catalog. Open the cover and feast your eyes on stunning jewelry in vivid hues modeled by MJ Miller customers. Perhaps you'll recognize someone. Turn to page 42 and view stunning confections, all visualized and crafted by Peter Storm artisans, designed for the sophisticated woman who values quality. Each and every Peter Storm ring is a lasting investment. Imagine a stunning and sensible gift option guaranteed to thrill. MJ Miller & Company has one of the largest selections of Peter Storm jewelry in the Midwest, but seeing is believing. Hey, call 847-381-7900 and ask for your free MJ Miller & Company Holiday Catalog, Christmas Catalog, or visit their store in downtown Barrington. They have expanded Christmas hours to best serve you. MJ Miller & Company, your trusted family jeweler.
All right, guys, huddle up. Coach's car battery died and he's running behind. And since I haven't been paying attention, I have no idea what plays we run or what most of your names are, for that matter. So what I'll do is I'm going to pop this antacid tablet, I'll fall down, I'll fake a heart attack, and then you guys act shocked and concerned and stuff. And hopefully that'll buy me enough time for the coach to get here. All right, team on three.
Make sure you'll be there. Get a car battery test today. Find a location at interstatebatteries.com. Interstate Batteries, outrageously dependable.
Liberty Mutual Insurance presents a story about Nana's cake.
It's Nana's 80th birthday, and you accidentally locked your keys in the car, along with her ice cream cake. No worries, this is a happy story. You have Liberty Mutual Insurance with 24-hour roadside assistance, and help is on the way. Liberty saves the day, and Nana even gives you an extra piece of unmelted cake.
Visit a local office or call 844-8-LIBERTY. You can leave worry behind when Liberty stands with you. Liberty Mutual Insurance. Optional towing and labor coverage. Underwritten by Liberty Mutual Insurance Company.
My daughter started school, and I find myself worrying if she is getting home safe while I'm still at work. I wish I could check up on her.
Alarm Detection Systems offers remote control of your security system from your phone. Get text or video alerts when someone's at your door. ADS is an authorized Honeywell equipment dealer. Visit adsalarm.com or call 630-844-6300. Alarm license number 127000143.
Our neighbor had thousands of dollars in flood damage and lost several items that are irreplaceable. Is there a security solution to receive early warning of an event like this?
Of course. Alarm Detection Systems has flood detection systems alerting you when water gathers in your home, giving you time to react. ADS is an authorized Honeywell equipment dealer. Visit adsalarm.com or call 630-844-6300. Alarm license number 127000143.
Hi, Barry Sterner, founder of Townstone Financial. Don't like what the big banks have been doing lately? Time to call Townstone. I guarantee you can have confidence when calling me at 312-896-2110 or going to townstone.com that our only interest is getting you the best refinance deal available and to make sure your home purchase closes on time and without headaches. Do you have a jumbo mortgage, great credit, just want a smooth refinance with low or no closing costs and a great rate? Townstone Financial is the place to contact. We beat the big banks every day, and that's not just a saying. I had a call last week on a jumbo mortgage where a bank was charging $5,000 in closing costs. Not only was Townstone able to do the loan for no closing costs, but we were also able to beat the big bank's interest rate by a quarter point. Do yourself a favor. Check with Townstone before you refinance your mortgage or start a new home purchase. We will compete with anyone. Remember, nobody values your home mortgage business more than Townstone. So call 312-896-2110 or go to townstone.com. That's TOWNSTONE.com.
Townstone Financials, Indiana, Michigan, Wisconsin, Florida, Illinois. Mortgage license
licensee 6629 and NMLS 136639. Equal housing lender.
In the AM 560 newsroom, here are the stories we're watching this morning. Dangerous cold hitting the entire upper Midwest. A Chicago alderman has been indicted, and Donald Trump meets with the Emanuel brothers. Cubs sign Uehara to a one-year deal, and the Blackhawks battle the Islanders. WIND, Chicago News Time, 7.
Fox News Radio. I'm Dave Anthony. They've been waiting and waiting through bombing and shelling, but finally, some Syrian civilians are leaving war-torn Aleppo, a city held by rebels for years. Fox's Jessica Gallagher live in our Middle East bureau.
Dave, residents of the last remaining rebel-held districts of eastern Aleppo are boarding buses and ambulances as the withdrawal from the besieged city starts. The evacuation of the wounded, the opposition, and civilians was supposed to start yesterday, but was stalled due to fighting. Jan Egeland is special advisor to the United Nations.
Aleppo, for 3,000 years, gave to world civilization, and world civilization was not there to assist the people of Aleppo when they needed us.
Moscow's military says Damascus has given security guarantees to all rebels who leave. Dave.
Jessica, days after press reports that the CIA concluded Russians hacked into the 2016 campaign to help elect Donald Trump, House Republicans are upset the CIA would not send someone to detail that at a briefing today, now canceled. Intelligence Committee member Peter King says it's as if Intel insiders are carrying out a disinformation campaign against the president-elect.
If they're not doing it, then it must be someone in the House or the Senate who's leaking false information, and there should be a full investigation of this.
The CIA wants to wait until a full review ordered by President Obama is complete. There's a manhunt for a fugitive said to be extremely dangerous in North Carolina. The morning after Edward Moore Jr., a bank robbery suspect, broke free from sheriff's custody in Fayetteville, escaping from a hospital emergency room, then driving off while shackled in a stolen van that was found abandoned last night. It's cold across America.
I have 2 gloves on. I have my snow pants on. I have 3 pairs of socks.
She's in Milwaukee, where it's 0. It feels colder than that across the Midwest. There are wind chill advisories from North Dakota to Maine. Oregon's blanketed in snow and ice. A storm yesterday caused spinouts and traffic gridlock for hours. Fox News Radio, fair and balanced.
One above at 7:02 on AM 560. The Answer. Good morning. I'm Mike Scott. Folks around Chicagoland experiencing dangerously cold wind chills today. National Weather Service says temps only in the single digits, and that wind chill advisory is in effect until late this morning. Wind chills could hit 30 below. A number of area schools have late starts or have canceled classes because of the cold weather. One person is dead, 4 others critically hurt following a crash in Posen. The vehicle slammed into multiple parked cars early this morning near 143rd and Harrison. The cause of that accident remains under investigation. DCFS is investigating the death of a 7-month-old boy on Chicago's South Side. The infant found unresponsive Tuesday at his home near 77th and Racine. The child was pronounced dead at a nearby hospital. An attorney for a prominent Chicago alderman says his client will fight charges against him in a newly unveiled indictment. Willie Cochran was indicted by a grand jury filed in U.S. District Court in Chicago. His attorney, Thomas Durkin, says they will fight vigorously. Fellow Alderman Anthony Beal spoke yesterday.
The community already has a bad look on elected officials, and situations like this just kind of compounds that.
The indictment points out, among other things, the alderman is accused of pilfering $30,000 from a charitable fund, then spending that out at casinos and to pay his daughter's college tuition. President-elect Donald Trump becoming more familiar with the Emanuel family. Mayor Emanuel and his brothers. The Sun-Times says Donald Trump met with Zeke Emanuel yesterday at Trump Tower in New York City, discussing, among other things, health care. The real estate mogul held meetings with Mayor Rahm Emanuel last week and spoke with Hollywood super agent Ari Emanuel at the Trump National Golf Club in New Jersey last month. College hoops, Northern Illinois, Northwestern, Southern Illinois, and UIC all winners. The news service of Accountemps. Do you know what you should be making? Visit accountemps.com/salary center to see the salaries for more than 400 accounting and finance salaries where you live. It's your go-to source for accounting and finance salary information. Accountemps, a Robert Half company. 7:04 and a check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Christmas is less than a month away, and this year, give the gift of sunshine. Grab your passport to paradise and join Dan Proft, Amy Jacobson, and Joe Walsh at Secrets Cap Cana Resort and Spa in beautiful Punta Cana. It's an unlimited luxury adults-only resort with all the amenities you can imagine. Give this trip as a gift to a loved one or treat yourself this holiday season. Visit 560theanswer.com and search for the keyword passport.
I'm Nick Soboleski, a Select Quote agent with a true story that could save you hundreds of dollars a year. A woman named Linda just called. Her husband, Ray, has a $300,000 group life insurance policy, but is changing jobs and can't take it with him. Well, I impartially shopped the highly rated term life insurance companies we represent and found Ray, who is 41 and takes medication to control his cholesterol, a 10-year, $500,000 policy for under $26 a month. That's almost twice the coverage for less than half of what he had paid. If SelectQuote hasn't shopped for your life insurance, you're probably paying too much.
For your free quote, call 1-800-467-5125. That's 1-800-467-5125. 1-800-467-5125. Or go to SelectQuote.com. We shop. You save. Get full details on the example policy at SelectQuote.com/commercials. Your price can vary depending on your health, issuing company, and other factors not available in all states.
7:06. Let's check the roads at our AM 560 traffic center with Jim Talamonte.
Thanks, Mike. Yellow Line trains are moving a little more swiftly in Skokie now. Some residual delays after there was police activity. Dempster Station. Edens is 27 minutes. Lake Hook to Montrose outbound 25. Kennedy, 36 minutes. O'Hare to downtown. 18 from Montrose, but 20 in the Express. Outbound 30 minutes downtown to the airport. Eisenhower, 46 minutes. Thorndale to the Loop. Outbound, it's 36. Stevenson, 45 minutes. 3:55 to Lakeshore Drive. Outbound an hour. Two left lanes are blocked at Central after a car fire. Delays start at Western. Ryan, 22 minutes. 95th to downtown. On the Reagan Tollway eastbound at Stop and Go from 31 to Eola. Stall on the right shoulder. Westbound 8094 a little slow from Ripley to before Central. Traffic answers when you need them most. I'm Jim Talamonte on AM 560. The Answer.
Friend Jim Talamonte, a little sneaky there with that Skokie Swift. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast from the aircomfort.com Weather Center. The forecast with Ashley Benoit.
Brisk and very cold today with sunshine mixing with some clouds. Extreme cold can be dangerous for outdoor activities. High 8. Mostly cloudy and frigid tonight. A little late night snow with little or no accumulation. Low 2, but temperatures rising into the lower teens overnight. I'm Ashley Benoit on AM 560. The Answer.
Currently 0 at O'Hare, 2 above along the lakefront, 3 below in Aurora. Your next news update is at 7:30. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by 1 Hour, together with Mike Rowe, encouraging you to choose licensed technicians to service your home. Call 1 Hour today, 855-1-HOUR.
Good morning. Welcome to your Thursday morning briefing. Here's what you need to know to start your day.
I'm here to help you folks do well. We're going to be there for you, and you'll call my people, you'll call me. It doesn't make any difference. We have no formal chain of command.
There's ample evidence that was known long before the election, and even in most cases long before October, that Russia was involved.
And when it comes to Mr. Tillerson, here's what he's got to do to convince me. I want to hear from him if he believes the Russians tried to interfere in our election. They're trying to destabilize democracies throughout the world. If he doesn't believe that, I would have a hard time voting for him.
This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560. The Answer.
Good morning, Dan and Amy. So the Fed, for only the second time since the Great Depression, bumped up interest rates 25 basis points yesterday. Is that a grand concession that quantitative easing has been an abject failure? Why don't we put that question to our friend and Fox Business News contributor, Scott Shellady, the cow guy, Scott the cow guy.
Oh, I love him.
Who joins us now. Scott, thanks for being with us.
Yeah, good morning. Thank you.
So what's the interpretation of the quarter percentage point interest rate hike by the Fed yesterday?
Well, Well, I mean, you kind of kicked it off in the right direction there. I mean, we've had monetary policy, and arguably that's failed. We're still growing at less than 2%. We put people back to work, but we're trying to salvage our economy with $15 an hour jobs, not real true manufacturing jobs, and that's not working. So we've turned to fiscal policy, and that's what Trump's been kind of beating his drum with. It hasn't really come through yet. But I'd argue there's a third policy, and that's the mental policy. And I think we're seeing a little bit of the animal instincts being unleashed because of maybe this new president-elect coming in and doing something different than the last 8 years. And there's a little bit of a different feeling on the street. I'd say that with this interest rate hike, while some might say it could hurt homeowners and it might even help savers, but or slow the economy down, I think that with 7.5 years of 0% interest rates, we couldn't get people to buy houses, okay? So that was perverse. But now the flip side of the perverseness is now people are actually thinking that the economy is getting better because we're raising interest rates. So we might actually see a little flurry of activity here as this interest rate rise hits the street, and now the Fed has predicted not just 2 but maybe 3 next year in 2017. But I always take what they say with a grain of salt because they predicted that we would have 4 this year, and we just had our first one yesterday.
So what does it mean, though, for the average consumer if you have an adjustable mortgage rate, if you have a balance on your credit card, if you're trying to get a car loan? What does it mean for us?
It's only Amy, it's only 0.25%, so it shouldn't really mean that much. And nobody's really talked about this. Is that if he raises interest rates, even say a point or even 2%. I mean, if we have the tax cuts come through that he says he's going to do, there's going to be a much bigger bump to the economy in a good way with the tax cuts than a negative way with these interest rate hikes. And interest rates have been so low for so long. Even 0.25% on a lot of money really adds up to only one meal out, a month. It shouldn't really affect the economy too much. And actually, like I said, mentally, a lot of folks are seeing this as a good thing, and that we might be doing better than we thought, and the economy can actually handle it.
Well, and you've had a couple of fairly substantial announcements in the last week. CEO of U.S. Steel saying he's prepared to expedite investments and hire back as many as 10,000 U.S. workers, and then IBM announcing in advance of yesterday's meeting with the tech execs, 25,000 new U.S. jobs over the next 4 years, 6,000 next year. I mean, that can't all be based on the expectation of tax cuts and regulatory reform. That had to be in the works in some respect, right? I mean, big companies like that don't make snap decisions in 3 weeks.
No, they can't. You're exactly right. It has been, those things have been in the works, and to some extent, there has been a little bit of a positive kind of tone to the economy. And we try to measure it with GDP, the gross domestic product. But you know what the GDP doesn't measure, Dan, is it doesn't measure negative decisions. I mean, to not do something is still a decision. So to not hire that 50th employee and then start your Obamacare nightmare or the 52nd employee, it doesn't measure those decisions, even though they're negative. Well, now what a lot of the guys that we speak to and some of the real smart folks on the street are thinking that, you can't really quantify what these new positive decisions would do to the economy if a lot of CEOs start to make that call to hire that person, to build that plant, to retool with new equipment, what really that could do to the economy. I mean, Stanley Druckenmiller, who's a very, very intelligent man, is looking for something like 5 or 6%. So that would be crazy. And like you said, these things are slowly but surely bubbling up. But I think now with this new regime and the president-elect, I think that's really taken the shackles off the economy, and away we go. Now there's going to be a bumpy ride. I mean, he's got some learning to do, but at least it seems though the air is a little fresher.
What do you think of Donald Trump inserting himself in the carrier deal?
I've got two. It's a feel-good story, but it's also a slippery slope. So I'm in two minds about that. It'll be a full-time job to insert himself in every decision for every firm that feels like they need to go abroad. And there are sometimes benefits to us to have things made cheaply or cheaper, much cheaper. I mean, the difference is it's It's as wide as $35 to make something here versus $5 to make it in Mexico. I mean, that's a huge, huge difference. It's going to be hard to overcome by just beating our chest and having our jobs stay at home. So I'm in two minds about it. I think it's nice to see the effort, and I think the electorate likes to see somebody that actually cares and is going to do something. But at the same time, it's a real slippery slope.
Well, what was your impression of the tone he struck with those aforesaid tech execs yesterday, most of whom did not support Donald Trump and did not support him openly and notoriously, particularly when you've got an Eric Schmidt in the room who is basically the data guru for the Hillary Clinton campaign. But his tone was rapprochement. I want to help you. I want to focus on innovation. And that should send a positive signal to the street, right?
Yeah, it does. I mean, I'm a little old school on that, Dan. I mean, part of me wonders if those techies have no pride. Number two is I hope they took the service elevator up. And then number three is, I think it makes the president-elect look very good that he's still willing to embrace those people after a lot of the things that were said and all that was done against him. So, that's him doing a good job showing that he's going to be able to reach across the aisle, whether it may be Democrat or Republican or it might be, the tech industry versus the healthcare industry. But, yeah, that makes him look really good, and I think it makes them look really bad.
Do you have any concerns about Elon Musk being added to his kind of well, it's not really ad hoc. It's an advisory council of CEOs. I don't know. Some of these things turn out to be kind of honorific, do-nothing committees. But nonetheless, Elon Musk, bringing him in, Elon Musk has got a couple of billion-dollar companies that are basically propped up by federal subsidies. And do you worry about mercantilist policy, not just a one-off deal like Carrier, but extending like venture capital at the Department of Energy and those sorts of things that were central to the Obama administration approach to energy policy and innovation?
Yeah, there's another slippery slope there. You're exactly right. I mean, he's got a great mind, but you're right on the head with the fact that if the government didn't have a hand or prop him up, the things that he was doing would be out of business by now. So he's relied heavily upon it. It's nice to have a great mind, and he might be out in front of a little bit too far ahead of us, and that's why some of these things don't catch on and don't work. There was 105 car manufacturers in 1904, and we basically have 3 today here in the States. So he's a little bit ahead of his time, and it'd be nice to hear what he has to say, but you're right. It's a little bit dangerous. I mean, and I also wrestle with this fact of, could it be possibly cheaper to have the government prop up some of these things or like, the concessions that they gave to Carrier than letting those jobs go or watching all those people go on the dole and having the government have to pay for all those unemployment benefits? I mean, who's going to do a big study on that to find out, hey, is a tax break to a Carrier, is that going to be cheaper in the long run than it would be to support all these people on government benefits because they don't have jobs? I don't know, but those are the types of things that we get talked about.
What's your reaction, and what do you think the impact is of Trump focusing on bringing in doers into his cabinet, doers in the private sector, business people, particularly the choice of Rexon, as I have now termed him, and will soon popularize. Right. As Secretary of State, I mean, that's a geopolitical role. It's a foreign policy role, but obviously he brings his background as an oil and gas man to that job. The idea of business people, not just from Goldman Sachs, being in his cabinet, is that an encouraging sign as well?
100%. I mean, I have a family farm, so I've got an agrarian upbringing, and unfortunately with that comes this burden of common sense. and why else? What else would you do except for hire people that have international experience to be Secretary of State? And not to mention the generals. I mean, look, he's bringing in generals and accomplished billionaires. And what that means to me is disciplined decision makers. I mean, that's a great marrying of two things there. So they're going to be disciplined, and they're good deal makers and make good decisions. And I really think that's a great breath of fresh air.
All right. He is Scott Shellady, Scott the Cow Guy. You see him on Fox Business all the time. He's a Fox Business contributor. Scott, thanks as always for joining us. Appreciate it.
Thank you, guys. Have a good day.
I want really want to know where he gets those jackets.
Yeah,
Next
it's
time we
because,
thought,
it's because of the
family farm.
Yeah, it's farming background. Exactly right.
Scott, the cow guy, joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
If you're talking about it, Dan and Amy are talking about it. It's Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Scott wears that jacket down at Sports Column in Iowa City. He's not getting out because the ladies won't let him out. You know what I mean?
No, I don't.
Today, brisk, very cold. Wow, it's a balmy 0 right now at O'Hare. Going up to a high of 8 degrees, but it can be dangerously cold outside, so of course limit your time outdoors in these conditions. Check on your elderly friends. Dan, are you okay? Dan?
Thank you, miss.
Well, let me know if you need me to take you to a shelter. Minus...
Warming center.
Yeah, excuse me, warming center. Minus 19 degrees for a wind chill right now. Then tonight a low of 2, and tomorrow it's going to be warmer, a high of 21 degrees, but we're going to have the white stuff anywhere from a dusting to an inch. Let's get those travel times. Very busy man. Here's Jim Telemonte.
Thanks, Amy and Dan. Reagan Tollway, eastbound 88, bottled up 31 to Eola, where there's a stall on the right shoulder. Northbound Tri-State now heavy. Archer to LaGrange Road, Ogden to 31st. And from the Reagan Tollway to North Avenue. Veterans Memorial, a little slow Maple to the Reagan Tollway. Edens is 29 minutes. Lake Hook to Montrose, outbound 27. Kennedy, 39 minutes. O'Hare to downtown, outbound 33. The Eisenhower, 54 minutes. Thorndale to the post office, 41 from Manheim, outbound 36 to Thorndale. Stevenson, brutal outbound after a car fire at Central. All lanes have just reopened. It's an hour to get from Lakeshore Drive to 355. Inbound, it's 46 minutes. The Ryan, 22 minutes, 95th for the Loop. Jim Talamonte in the AM 560 Traffic Center.
Hey guys, check this out. There's a brand new technology that's going to drive your wife or girlfriend or third wife wild with desire. And it's not what you're thinking. It's even better. It's called Micro Velvet, created by PJ experts at Pajamagram, and it's found only in their Tempting Touch PJs. Now, Tempting Touch PJs are simply the softest and most luxurious pajamas ever imagined.
There's nothing funny about PJs.
They're addictively soft. They beg to be touched. So go to pajamagram.com and get her the blissful comfort you know she deserves. I'm going to order myself a pair too. It's a higher level of soft, softer than her sweetest dreams and yours. They're tempting to wear and tempting to touch. And when she's happy, you'll be happy too. A holiday gift has never felt this tempting. So the best part is about a Pajamagram, you don't even have to wrap because every Pajamagram includes free gift packaging. Christmas delivery guaranteed. So visit pajamagram.com or call 1-800-GIVE-PJs. That's 1-800-GIVE-PJs.
Here's microbiologist Dr. Kim O'Neill talking about balance of nature.
Scientific research has shown that many cancers and lifestyle diseases can be prevented with a diet rich in fruits and vegetables. This prevention comes from the phytochemicals in the plants. They fight against oxidants that damage the cell's DNA, causing mutations that lead to disease. I don't take any supplementation, but I take Balance of Nature because I know, I've seen it in my lab, and I know that it works. I've seen the immune response increase, I've seen your DNA repair capacity increase, and I've seen DNA protection. And that, to me, as a scientist, rings so true, and it's only natural.
Call now to find out how to get your free month's supply of Balance of Nature. Call 800-2468-751. That's 800-2468-751. Or go online to balanceofnature.com.
Use promo code CHICAGO.
The most recent U.S. Supreme Court decision on the Affordable Care Act made one thing certain. We will all have to deal with this ever-changing law until at least 2017. If you're tired of calling a bureaucrat at an 800 number to help you navigate Obamacare, then you need a local expert on your side. That's right, your own health insurance mentor. C. Stephen Tucker from healthinsurancementors.com is someone I know and trust. He's a 20-year licensed broker who's been educating AM 560 listeners on the Affordable Care Act for the last 5 years.
Thanks, Dan. From now until January 31st, you cannot be denied coverage based on a pre-existing condition. Aetna, Coventry, United
UnitedHealthcare and Harkin Health no longer offer health insurance subsidies even if you qualify. One company still does, and they still offer plans that provide access to Northwestern Memorial, University of Chicago, and Rush University medical centers. Call me. I can help.
Thanks, Steve. How can our listeners get in touch with you?
They can visit healthinsurancementors.com or call me directly at 630-674-1551. That's 630-674-1551.
AM 560, The Answer.
If you're talking about it, I'll be talking about it. Dennis Prager here. Join me this morning at 11, right here on AM 560, The Answer.
Dan and Amy, all right, I got a good Christmas story here. This is an uplifting story. We focus so much on the bad actors. How about some of the good actors?
Sure.
You're familiar with Chick-fil-A, Amy?
Yes, I am.
I know, according to Alderman Proco Joe Moreno, the guy who groped you at the Tom Seraphin Christmas party.
All over me.
Like skin on a grape he was on you.
Well, he asked me out to dinner, or he said, we should go to dinner sometime and chat and get to know each other better.
Yeah.
And I suggested we should go to Chick-fil-A. I'll only go if we go to Chick-fil-A.
Because Chick-fil-A doesn't reflect Chicago values.
Or his values.
According to Proco Joe, that dink, and Tiny Dancer, too.
They're all the same height, too, by the way. They're all little Sunshine Family people.
Yeah,
you just pick them up and you do move them.
They're little Cornish hens.
They try to climb the tree. Cornish.
So this is a story about Chick-fil-A employee Jakeem Tyler.
Mm-hmm.
He's a teenager who works at the Chick-fil-A in Avon, Indiana, and was serving a customer named Cameron Nelson, who took a photo of Tyler, and that photo went viral. Mr. Nelson explains why he did that.
18-year-old Jakeem Tyler was working the register at Chick-fil-A in Avon when Cameron Nelson walked in and saw him taking orders, neck brace, sling, and all. When Cameron asked him why he wasn't home recovering, Jakeem had a very good reason for reporting to work.
He didn't want to let his team down by just calling in and not showing up, but he also wanted to use the money for Christmas presents and to be able to feed the homeless with it as well.
Jakeem's words inspired Cameron to snap and share this now viral picture.
And then when I found out what he wanted to use the money for, I just wanted to see what I was able to do to help him out.
Yeah, it's the.
I saw the picture of him. Oh my! He looks like he's in a great deal of pain.
He got in that's a nasty car accident. You think about all the workers' comp scams in this state. Here's a teenager. He's got like the full neck brace on and arm. You see him trying to make change, kind of clawing his left arm over his right arm. So, but he shows up to work, entry-level job. This kid is going to be a superstar at some point in terms of whatever profession he chooses because of his work ethic as he's demonstrating. But that GoFundMe page that was started by Cameron Nelson has now raised $11,000 for Jakeem Tyler, far exceeding the goal he had of $2,500 initially.
Now, that's a GoFundMe page I could donate to.
Absolutely.
It's different, but
and Chick-fil-A responded to this story that was kind of generated organically by...
Let me guess, Employee of the Year?
Jakeem doing what he does, and by this customer taking note. They just wrote that, they said in a statement, Jakeem is a phenomenal young man and an outstanding team member. He's an inspiration both in terms of his work ethic and commitment to serving others. He returned to work after being cleared by his doctor and with support of his family so he can not only serve alongside his team in the restaurant, but also earn money to give back to others. We are beyond proud of Jakeem and support his efforts to serve the homeless in our community. In regards to the money being donated on his behalf, Jakeem is grateful for the support of the community. How he decides to utilize the money is up to Jakeem and his parents. So it's a cool story, and it speaks to something that Jim Brown said, the NFL great. I got to go back to this.
Oh, yeah, you have to play that again.
It's such an interesting interview he gave to Gloria Vanderbilt's Kid Anderson about his meeting with Trump and about his disposition with respect to the result of the election and race in America. First, the result of the election. Jim Brown, Hall of Famer, community activist for a long time, really community leader. Community activist has a negative connotation because of so many scumbags that use that to describe themselves. But that's not the case with Jim Brown. And Brown was a Hillary supporter.
Yep, he sure was.
Well, in my opinion, people that go against the election are going against America. We have free elections. Everybody can vote. We fought for that. We brag about that, and we know we're going to have a winner, we're going to have a loser. So my point is, if we respect the winner and approach that person, have access to that person, and that person will look at what we are presenting, that's not too bad. I could have sat back and said, well, Hillary didn't win, I'm just going to sit on my butt and complain. But see, the one thing about this country, if you get off your butt and you apply yourself, you can be successful. But if you want to be delivered, you talk about the wrong country.
I love the laugh. And Jakeem Tyler is a living example of that about which Jim Brown speaks. And then he was asked about the composition of Trump's cabinet. Not enough people of color. Isn't that true, Mr. Brown? Do you have any problems with that, Mr. Brown? Asked Anderson. And here's Jim Brown's response.
A lot of the black people in my community might think I'm a sellout by saying this. The three greatest people in my life as a young person were white. My high school superintendent, my high school coach, and a graduate of Manhasset High, Kenny Malloy, who was a mentor to yours truly. And so I'm not a person that really deals in color. I recognize the inequities that certain cultures have to go through. I understand the history of slavery. I know all those things. But I'm not a victim. I can vote, I can participate, I can invest my money, I can invest my time. And that's what I'm doing. I'm not working for anybody. I'm not making any money doing what I'm doing. I'm doing it because someone did it for me.
We need more people with the sense and sensibility of a Jim Brown and a Jakeem Tyler.
This is the morning show more Chicago radio listeners are choosing. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Hi, I'm Mary Beth. I had a failed root canal, and it was causing me pain. Dr. Neruzzi took care of my tooth, and I got my implant, and then I had another after that fail, and he did that one as well. And the experience was, they were amazing. It was not painful at all like I thought it was going to be, and I was very, very, very nervous about the whole thing. Nobody enjoys getting, implants or dental work. And I procrastinated, but I had to have it done. And he took me in immediately and took care of it. And he made it really affordable. They're very accommodating to people that cannot afford to have it done. I would recommend Dr. Neruzzi to anybody, and I have given him referrals. My own sister had hers done by him.
This is Dr. Neruzzi. I personally guarantee your happiness with your implants. Go to implantsforme.com.
For missing teeth, dental implants are wonderful. The advantages are fantastic. Just remember, implantsforme.com. Implantsforme.com.
I have a great gift idea this holiday season, this Christmas season. Give the gift of travel. It's cold here. It's going to snow again this weekend. So get out of town and join us, Dan, Amy, and Joe Walsh, as we head to Punta Cana in the Dominican Republic. I love this music. That's where we are heading in 2017. We'll be staying at the Secrets Cap Cana Resort and Spa. It's an unlimited luxury resort that just opened in November, adults only. It has 5 gourmet restaurants, 7 bars, unlimited premium drinks, 24-hour room service. The resort has sparkling pools and access to pristine beaches. So join us in Punta Cana and have the vacation of a lifetime with us. Get more information and book your trip by visiting 560theanswer.com, keyword passport. That's 560theanswer.com, keyword passport. Coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Does the humanitarian catastrophe in Syria and the UN's impotence to do anything about it demand a U.S. pullout of the UN? We'll ask former Assistant Secretary of State Robert Charles at 7:37.
But first, into the newsroom we go. Here is Mike Scott.
Amy and Dan, folks around Chicagoland experiencing dangerously cold weather this morning. Wind chills around minus 18. The cold spot in the state right now is Freeport at minus 9. For us, again, minus 2 this morning, and because of that cold, a number of area schools have canceled classes or put into effect late starts. The evacuation of the last rebel enclave in Aleppo is underway. Residents in the eastern part of that war-torn city have begun to board buses. The evacuations appear to be part of a Aleppo ceasefire deal that is holding for now. Senior officials say new intelligence shows Vladimir Putin may have been directly involved in trying to influence the U.S. presidential election. President-elect Donald Trump's senior advisor Kellyanne Conway, though, tells Fox News she doesn't like how the potential hacking is being connected to the election.
Let's roll the tape of everyone, all those geniuses on TV, all the people on Team Clinton. Let's roll the tape leading up to the actual election day. How many people were talking about this as interfering in the election? They were talking about what they were going to do in the West Wing, that the path was closed, we can never win. Officials
tell NBC News the Russian president directed how material hacked from the Democrats was to be made public. Closing arguments are expected to begin later today in the 3-month-old federal trial of 6 suspected gang leaders in Chicago. 1 person is dead, 4 others critically hurt following a crash in south suburban Posen. It happened near 143rd and Harrison. College baskets last night. Northern Illinois, Northwestern, Southern Illinois, and UIC, all winners. The news is a service of Accountemps. And at 7:34, a check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
For me, it never has been about Trump.
The Joe Walsh Show.
For me, it's about the ideas, it's about the issues, it's about the movement. Go ahead and cut whatever deal you want, but when it comes to people in this country illegally, you ran your campaign, sir, on that issue. You can't walk that back.
The Joe Walsh Show. Weeknights starting at 5. Right after Sean Hannity at 2 on AM 560. The Answer.
If your family loves the great outdoors, there's only one place to go for this season. Cabela's Christmas Sale. Plus, hurry in Saturday for 8 a.m. doorbusters at Cabela's in Hoffman Estates.
My name is David Hochberg, Vice President of Lending at Pearl Mortgage. If you're looking to purchase a new home or refinance your existing home, give me a call. Billy wanted to contact a realtor before purchasing a home in Arlington Heights. Bad move. Not getting pre-qualified by me before talking to a realtor is like skydiving without a parachute. I pre-qualified Billy to purchase a home and introduced him to Donna Sattler, my preferred Arlington Heights realtor. If you're purchasing a home, call me first. I'll pre-qualify you for free and introduce you to my experienced team of preferred realtors who will help you locate the perfect home. My team of real estate experts will always look out for your financial best interest. If you're buying a home, give me a call now at 312-751-1333 or visit am560david.com. I've helped thousands of AM 560 listeners, but I can't help if you don't call 312-751-1333 or visit am560david.com. Pearl Mortgage, an equal housing lender, Illinois Residential Mortgage License D4358, RMLA, NMLS 19186.
7:36. Check the roads in our AM 560 traffic center with Jim Talamonte.
Thanks, Mike. CTA Blue Line trains right now are not able to leave O'Hare. The CTA is working on this problem. Not sure why it's going on. 8094 westbound. We're seeing delays rapidly before Central with a crash in the right lane. Eden's 25 minutes. Lake Hook to Montrose, outbound 30 to Kennedy. An hour and 2 minutes. O'Hare to downtown, outbound 39 minutes. The Eisenhower's a 56-minute drive. Thorndale to downtown, outbound 38. Stevenson, 52 minutes, 3:55 to Lakeshore Drive, outbound 55 after a car fire at Central. Ryan, 23 minutes, 95 to downtown. Reagan Tollway jammed, 31 to Eola with a stall on the right shoulder. Traffic is a service of American Express Open. Business cards from American Express can help cover the big purchases you need to make when you need to make them. Find out how American Express Open cards and services can help prepare you for growth at open.com. Traffic answers when you need them most. I'm Jim Talamonte on AM 560. The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer is a service of Accountemps. Accounting and finance salaries are on the rise. Get an in-depth salary forecast for more than 400 accounting and finance roles at Accountemps.com. Accountemps is a Robert Half company. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast. Brisk, very cold. Some of that extreme cold, the wind chills factored in, could be dangerous. We will top out at 8 above today and a low of 2 above overnight. It is 2 below officially at O'Hare, 0 along the lakefront, and 4 below in Aurora. Your next news update is at 8. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by the Money Hour Radio Show, Saturday afternoons at 3 on AM 560, The Answer. Brought to you by Pure Shale Financial Group.
Your money. Find out how to keep more of it and live debt-free. Tonight on The Dave Ramsey Show, starting at 7 on AM 560. The Answer.
Good morning, Dan and Amy. And I was rather stunned by this comment from one Mike Barnicle, who is a lefty on that, frankly, unwatchable program, Morning Joe. But I happened upon this clip. Mike Barnicle reacting to the the ceasefire that wasn't yesterday, and then it's reconstituted, back and forth. But the bottom line is the reestablishment by the Assad regime of control over Aleppo and thus long-term control over Syria with the help of the Russians. Mike Barnicle saying this about the vaunted UN.
Another thing that's clearly evident from the past 5 years is they should just shut down the United Nations. Just shut it down. Because they do nothing. They've done so little in this regard.
Mike, thank God you said that. You know what they do? They come here in September and they have parties. That's all they do.
Wow. Strong statements from No Labels Joe and lefty Mike Barnicle on the Morning Joe program. I mean, when Donald Trump was suggesting things like this and even kind of recalibrating them to say, well, not pull out of NATO, but I want other countries that are member nations to pay their proportional share.
Right.
He was treated as some, rube who didn't know what he was talking about and was a danger to Western civilization. And now you've got Mike Barnicle saying the U.S., saying that, well, not just the U.S. should pull out, they should shut the UN down. Wow. Should they? Well, for more on this, we're pleased to be joined by Robert Charles. He is a former Assistant Secretary of State in the George W. Bush administration, and he's now the president of the Charles Group. Mr. Charles, thanks so much for joining us. Appreciate it.
Sure, it's a pleasure to be able to talk with you.
So what about that reaction coming from unusual quarters to the totally ineffectual administration and Western policy with respect to the Assad regime and the atrocities going on and ongoing in Syria for the past 5 years?
So, I mean, it's a very serious topic, but I have to sort of chuckle at that sort of a comment. I think the American people made the decision that they were going to shut the Obama administration down, and I think they did that because both there and at the United Nations, there is just a blatant lack of leadership. And frankly, your word is your bond in diplomacy and national security and law and life. And this administration has broken their word from the line in the sand to everything else. And what it does is it upsets all the conditions of predictability and creates an environment of relative chaos and randomness, and people don't know what to trust. And so, of course, Putin stepped into the mix and provided a degree of predictability, which is, his management style and respect for democracy is relatively, problematic. But at the same time, he went in and essentially has said, chaos cannot reign forever, and I think that it blinks into a different issue altogether, and that is the question of where they will go with the State Department, presumably under Tillerson, in this cycle. And I'm actually very pleased about that. I don't know the man, but I have to tell you, as a choice, I think it's a great out-of-the-box choice. He's an internationalist. He's Exxon, as you probably know, has operations in almost every single country in the world. His relationships with leaders around the world are already deep. And while, of course, you have to put some conflicts of interest, legal provisions out there to make sure that, everything's transparent, the truth is I think we're very lucky to have an internationalist who's already trusted in that sphere. International diplomacy, whether it's the UN or the State Department, requires more than anything else trust on the part of the parties that are facing each other in a discussion. And that's really a one-on-one. It's an eyeball-to-eyeball assessment of whether you can or can't trust this person to get an outcome. Historically, we've kind of slapped Johnny-come-lately diplomats into positions like this, or politicians, God forbid. And you can see from the last two secretaries of state, where a politician gets you. And what has come out of what I think you get in this instance is you get somebody with a depth of cultural understanding about these countries, somebody who, if you think about it for a minute, when he negotiates agreements on oil for America and for an American company, he has to get an outcome. You can't just push paper and pretend you got something.
Yeah,
it's a real outcome. You have to enforce it. You have to believe it's going to happen. And so that's why I think there's a discussion about Russia. He's gotten Putin to say and do what he needs to do.
Yeah, but there's something in it for him because he's made millions of dollars.
What's that?
I said there's something in it for him because Rex has made millions of dollars by pushing Putin to sign certain deals.
Well, that's what a deal is.
And, think about it for a minute. He's worked for the shareholders of a major American company. Now, all of a sudden, we average Americans become his shareholders. And, the other thing about him is his management style is exceptional. It's very similar, I think, to George Shultz's management style. George Shultz was probably one of the best secretaries of state of the last 50 or 60 years. He came out of Bechtel. George Shultz did.
Good point.
And net, I think there are elements of Tillerson who, he'll be a trusted party, unlike this UN or a State Department where you really are getting something you didn't want, and frankly, they can't even hold foreign countries to that kind of a standard, even if they, when they get something.
Well, but beyond Tillerson, I mean, we're so focused, everybody's obsessing about Tillerson because, of course, he's the head of Exxon and because he is from the private sector. But no matter how talented you are, Trump and his administration and Secretary of State to be Tillerson, they are inheriting, to continue the oil metaphor, burning oil derricks all over the world, I should say. How, no matter what skill set you bring to the table, how do you align America's interests with an Iran that has been given the green light for nuclear weapon and regional hegemony? How do you align America's interests with brutal dictators like Assad? And if you're not going to align interests, which probably is not possible or prudent, then how do you blunt their interests?
Well, I think whether you're talking Taiwan or Syria or Russia, here's the good news. The good news is diplomacy is an incremental process, and it's a chess game. That's a fair metaphor. It's not a boxing match typically. The interesting part is when you go to, quote, align those interests, which means how do we serve the interests of the United States of America everywhere in the world? How do we advance our interests vis-a-vis these other parties? There are some parties where, frankly, we're going to have to start from scratch, and they're going to need to understand where we come from, and Iran is one of those parties. Russia certainly is one of those parties, but I think we have a lot more in common with the Russian people than most people realize. Ronald Reagan saw that right off the bat. That's probably the largest Christian nation on the face of the earth. There's a great deal more that we can do with those people who are freedom-loving people, but have a government right now that's run by a guy that used to be part of the KGB. So you've got to be savvy, and you've got to be thoughtful about it. But you can find an alignment of interest, and you can also you can go a step beyond that. Leadership is really the whole ball of wax. When you go to deal with a foreign country or even a region or even an alliance, you have to have credibility. And what has happened over the last 8 years is we've had no credibility. Frankly, Colin Powell had great credibility with George W. Bush, and Ronald Reagan had great credibility because they said something and they meant it. The Soviets were terrified of Ronald Reagan long before we as Americans realized how terrified they were, because he fired the air traffic controllers. He had said, if you violate the law, you will be fired. And he gave 48 hours for them to come back. Turns out years later, when they interviewed the Politburo, they said to one another, holy crap, this guy means guy means what he says. And look what he says. He says we're going to end up on the dust heap of history.
Well, considering
no kidding.
Considering Russia's involvement in Syria, though, doesn't it give you pause to know that, if at the Kremlin they're giving out high fives to each other? One leader said this is some kind of Christmas gift from the American people to the Russian people.
No. You have to think. So I'm going to say something that's purely my own thinking, but you have to think out of the box. You have to think bigger. Here's the idea. We have dealt, believe it or not, with people with dictatorial temperaments all over the world for the last 150 years, probably longer than that, actually. And there are people you need to deal with. There are also people you need to transition out, even as you work with somebody that's working with them to get them to do what you want them to do. There is such a thing, too, as a grand bargain. I'll throw an idea out on the table. I think there is a possibility that if you can work closely with the Europeans, with the Russians, ultimately you can create an environment where let's do them in sequence. You get the Europeans, the Russians, the Americans, and the Ukrainians to a table, and you work out the Ukrainian problem. Now we've taken that off the table. A combination of agreements on sovereignty, economic components. By the way, Tillerson happens to be great on economic diplomacy. Mm-hmm. You get that locked down, and at the same time, you now look over here at Assad, and you also look and say, look, we have no interest in this Iran agreement. This Iran agreement is a great big farce. So it's a dangerous farce. So we are not going to play that game anymore. Here's the deal. We will work with you on a transition out for Assad. We will work with you on stabilizing Aleppo. We will work with you as you work with Assad to create a transition out for him. At the same time, for that concession, you're going to stop supporting Iran, and you're going to support us in backing away from or reimposing sanctions when they violate that accord. The last thing I'll throw out on the table, and it's a really wild card, but I haven't said this before, but I'll say it. Imagine if, within the dictates of certain diplomatic norms, which mean you have to let people know what you're thinking about doing, imagine if, just for what it's worth, Trump or somebody else I'll say Trump, were able to, he's already talked with something like 40 different world leaders. Imagine if he could have several conversations, and maybe others had conversations with him, with Putin. And they said, look, we've got a humanitarian disaster right now in Aleppo. Open up a corridor to Turkey. Open up a corridor for these people to safely get out of Aleppo. Stop the bombing. Get Assad to pull back, and let's stop this humanitarian crisis in the depth of winter in Aleppo. I'll be honest with you. If he did that, that would be more than Obama's done in 8 years.
Yeah, interesting. Very interesting. Good thoughts, provocative thoughts. He is Robert Charles, former Assistant Secretary of State from 03 to 05 in the W administration, now the president of the Charles Group. Robert Charles, thanks so much for joining us. Appreciate your insights.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
And he joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
Listen to Dan and Amy on your smartphone. Download the AM 560 mobile app today at 560theanswer.com/mobile.
The big news right now is that it's 2 below right now. 2 below. You know what 2 below is? The birthplace of Elvis Presley. 2 below, Mississippi. But it's actually 2 below. Air temperature, if you factor in the wind chill right now, minus 19 degrees. Oof. Going up to a high of 8 today. Tonight's going to be frigid, a bit of snow late, a low of 2 degrees. And tomorrow, things are going to warm up around here. It's going to be 21 degrees, but the snow returns. I know we'll have anywhere from a dusting up to an inch. Let's get right to it. Here's Jim Telemonte.
Amy, on the CTA Blue Line, trains are running again out of O'Hare with some delays after an earlier disruption in service. CTA Orange Line trains have some delays after a door problem at Pulaski. 8094 westbound stop and go Ripley to before Central. Got a crash in the right lane. Eden's 24 minutes. Lake Cook to Montrose out on 32. The Kennedy, now an hour and 2 minutes. O'Hare to downtown, much quicker in the Express, outbound 39 minutes. The Eisenhower, an hour and 3 minutes. Thorndale to the post office, 49 minutes from Manhunt, outbound 53 to Thorndale. Stevenson, 56 minutes, 3:55 to Lakeshore Drive, outbound 43. Ryan, 25 minutes, 95th to downtown. Tri-State, southbound still Washington to 176. Northbound from Archer to Ogden, and from the Reagan Tollway to North Avenue. The Reagan Tollway's jammed Orchard to Eola after a stall. That's traffic on AM 560, The Answer.
Hey, the holidays are almost here. Christmas a week from Sunday. So drive north to avoid the Cook County taxes. For half a century, Schrank Smoke and Gun has been the firearm store generations of customers trust and maintain that family atmosphere. Schrank's has over 700 firearms in stock, including an excellent selection of AR rifles to fit any budget, including Colt, LWRC, Ruger, FN, Smith & Wesson, civilian force arms that are made in Illinois, and more. With Lake County's largest selection, there's new, used, and consignment pistols, rifles, shotguns, and an array of ammo. Even collectibles, older functioning hunting rifles, and full gunsmith services. From a first firearm and a FOID card or adding to your collection, now's the perfect time to shop Schrank's. And if you love cigars like Dan does, you'll find your favorites in Schrank's humidors. So visit smoke, the letter N, gun.org.
Do they have Rocky Patel commanders?
Sure. Just visit smoke, the letter N, gun.org, or call 847-662-4034 for directions. That's 662-4034. Schrank's Smoking Gun in Waukegan, your family-owned gun store since 1964.
As the weather gets colder, you can't help but dream about spring and the warmer times of the year. Sure, the holidays are great, but another Chicago winter? Now is the time to look forward to and plan your warm weather special events like golf outings and weddings at the Bolingbrook Golf Club. Make wonderful memories. Enjoy the beautiful outdoor setting overlooking fountains and a lake. The perfect intimate atmosphere for your special day. The Bolingbrook Golf Club can accommodate 8 to 800 guests any time of the year, but spring and summer book fast. Go online now. BolingbrookGolfClub.com. Book your 2017 wedding or golf outing and receive 5 days and 4 nights at the Grand Mayan in Nuevo Vallarta or Puerto Vallarta with a master room and 2 rounds of golf at the Jack Nicklaus Design Course from Vedanta Resorts. Package includes hotel stay only and does not include airfare, ground transportation, or food and beverage and is valued at $1,300. Restrictions apply. Speak with sales team for details. Log on to BolingbrookGolfClub.com and start planning. The Bolingbrook Golf Club, exceeding your expectations since 2002.
Hey, Tony and Tina's Wedding is back in Chicago and better than ever. Audience members don't just watch the show, they participate as guests of the bride and groom. No 2 performances are ever the same in this improvised interactive dinner theater. Everyone loves a wedding, right, Dan? Especially when the family drama isn't your own. To learn more, visit TonyLovesTina.com. But wait, right now, be caller number 12 to win a pair of tickets to Tony and Tina's Wedding at Chicago Theater Works.
I'm rooting for Maddie from Orland Park.
Yes, caller number 12, 312-642-5600. Caller number 12, win a pair of tickets to Tony and Tina's Wedding at Chicago Theater Works.
And now, a moment of objectivism with your Ron Brook and the Ayn Rand Institute.
From childhood, we're taught that to be moral is to be altruistic. For philosopher Ayn Rand, no doctrine could be more evil. Altruism, Rand explained, does not mean being kind or generous towards others. Instead, altruism is the moral philosophy that says you don't have a right to exist for your own sake. It's the idea that service to others is the only justification for your existence, and that self-sacrifice is your highest moral duty, virtue, and value. Altruism is hostile to the founding principles of this great country and what makes human life great. That each individual has the inalienable right to pursue his own life and happiness. From the Ayn Rand Institute, I'm Ron Brook.
This has been a moment of objectivism from the Ayn Rand Institute. To learn more, listen to the Yaron Brook Show, Saturdays at 4 on AM 560, and visit ariradio.com.
If you enjoy Yaron Brook's Moments of Objectivism, consider making a gift to support content like this from the Ayn Rand Institute. ARI fosters a growing awareness, understanding, and acceptance of Ayn Rand's philosophy of objectivism to create a culture guided by the principles of reason, rational self-interest, individualism, and laissez-faire capitalism. To support this work, go to ariradio.com and click on the Donate button. Your tax-deductible gift will help to spread the message of Ayn Rand to the next generation.
Hi, it's Amy Jacobson and Dan Proft here from Chicago's Morning Answer.
We're partnering with Food for the Poor to help raise money to provide food and water to impoverished children and families in Haiti and Guatemala. As you probably know, when Hurricane Matthew rolled through Haiti a few months ago, it decimated a country that was already the poorest nation in the Western Hemisphere. The need right now is overwhelming.
Food for the Poor is one of America's largest and most trusted charities. Since 1982, they've been helping the poorest of the poor by directing resources directly to those in the greatest need. And 95 cents of every dollar they receive goes directly to the field, helping children and families.
Here's how you can help. A donation of $50 will provide food for a year and water for life for a child in Haiti. $50. That's all it takes to change a life.
To make that gift this Christmas season, just call 855-880-3663. That's 855-880-3663. 3663 or go online and visit 560theanswer.com and search for the keyword food.
No matter what type of business you're in, having a strong business banking partnership can help your bottom line. I'm Jeff Boundy, president of Cornerstone National Bank and Trust Company. We strongly believe that trust, service, and relationship are the cornerstone of a successful business banking partnership. Customers like Dr. Steichen of Northwest Oral and Maxillofacial Surgery agree.
Hi, my name is Dr. Michael Steichen of Northwest Oral and Maxillofacial Surgery in Arlington Heights, Elgin, and Lake Zurich. As an oral surgeon and business owner, I recognize the importance of relationships. I need a bank that responds quickly and creatively and understands the unique needs of healthcare practices. Cornerstone has been a valuable business partner partners help me grow my practice and seize opportunities as they come up. Whether it's a line of credit, financing equipment, or real estate, Cornerstone is there for me.
Thank you, Doctor. Please visit cornerstonenb.com, or I invite you to give me a call at 847-654-3000 to explore a business banking partnership.
Equal Opportunity Lender. Member FDIC. Mike Rowe here. Today I'm with Frank, one of the heating and cooling pros at 1 Hour. Frank's got his head up a vent right now. How's it going up there? Frank knows what he's talking about. He's been with 1 Hour for how long, Frank? 14 years. That's a long time. Over that time, he's worked on tons of different equipment, taken countless hours of training, and that makes Frank the man.
No, Mark Rowe's the man.
I'm sorry, Frank. Say again?
Mike Rowe's the man.
I heard him the first time. For any heating need, call 855-1 Hour today. Say it again, Frank.
Mike Rowe's the man.
That's what I'm talking about. Each independent franchise is licensed in its respective state or county.
Coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Congratulations to Brian from Alsip for winning those Tony and Tina tickets. And coming up, buckle up, The Godfather, Rick Santelli on the Fed and Trump fiscal policy at 8:08.
And an Illinois college has a new safe space that involves animals. But here first is Mike Scott.
Dangerously cold weather hitting Chicagoland as Chicago aldermen indicted. The Blackhawks battle the Islanders. WIND Chicago News Time. 8 o'clock.
Fox News Radio. I'm Dave Anthony. Laughable nonsense. That's what Vladimir Putin's spokesman is calling news reports quoting unnamed U.S. intelligence officials saying they believe the Russian president was personally involved interfering with the U.S. election. House Republicans are upset the CIA will not detail to them another report concluding the Russians wanted to help elect Donald Trump. Fox's Rachel Sutherland live in Washington.
Dave, the intelligence community wants to wait to brief Congress until after they wrap up an investigation requested by the White House, forcing the House Intelligence Committee to cancel a planned briefing today. Trump transition advisor Kellyanne Conway tells Fox and Friends the situation reveals disagreement among intelligence officials, and she cautioned about leaks.
People should recognize that there's unsourced, unnamed quotes flying around.
Republican New York Congressman Peter King is accusing the intelligence community of trying to put a cloud over the election. Dave.
Rachel, President-elect Trump has just tweeted the media tries so hard to make his move to the White House as it pertains to his business so complex when it actually isn't. He wants to turn control of his companies over to his sons.
Our nation has never before had a president with such a vast global entanglements and financial conflicts of interest.
House Democrats led by Elijah Cummings held a mock hearing yesterday wanting the president-elect to sell off assets and his family to have no more ties to the Trump businesses. It's closing time at Dylan Roof's trial in the Charleston, South Carolina church massacre. Fox's Eben Brown on the case live.
Dave, federal prosecutors in Charleston will make closing arguments today. Dylan Roof's own attorneys will do so as well, even though his lawyers admitted it was Roof who shot and killed 9 black churchgoers at Mother Emanuel Church in June of last year. In hopes of sparking a race war, he's charged with 33 federal hate crimes and civil rights violations. Roof's defense team will likely ask the jury again to spare Roof's life and send him to prison instead of death row, Dave.
Having a ceasefires holding in Syria, so ambulances and buses are finally evacuating civilians who've been stuck in the war-torn city of Aleppo. Fox News Radio, fair and balanced.
It is 2 below zero. We have clear skies this morning. 8:02 is our time. On AM 560, The Answer. Good morning. I'm Mike Scott. People here in Chicago facing dangerously cold weather. A wind chill advisory is up until late morning. A number of area schools have either canceled classes or have put into effect late starts. Closing arguments are expected to begin today in the 3-month-old federal trial of 6 suspected gang leaders in Chicago. The alleged members of the super gang, the Hobos, are accused of a racketeering conspiracy, including 9 killings. The number of people killed in an early morning car crash in South Suburban Posen is now 3. The deadly incident happened early this morning near 143rd and Harrison after a vehicle struck several parked cars. DCFS is investigating the death of a 7-month-old boy on Chicago's South Side. The infant found unresponsive at his home near 77th and Racine Tuesday. The child pronounced dead at a nearby hospital. An attorney for a prominent Chicago alderman says his client will fight the charges against him in a newly unveiled indictment. Willie Cochran's attorney, Thomas Durkin, said after the grand jury indictment was filed, they would fight the charges vigorously. Chicago City Council approving a $1.3 million fund to help immigrants with legal services, including those facing deportation. And the City Council also approved $5 million in settlements to families of 2 African Americans fatally shot by Chicago police. Chicago sports, Northern Illinois, Northwestern, Southern Illinois, and UIC, all with college basketball wins last night. The White Sox agree to a one-year, $6 million contract with pitcher Derek Holland. The news service of Accountemps. Accounting and finance salaries are on the rise in 2017. Get an in-depth salary forecast for more than 400 accounting and finance roles in your area by visiting them at Accountemps.com. Accountemps is a Robert Half company. 8:04, time for the AM 560 Business Beat, a service of Turnkey.pro. From the Fox Business Network, here's Ginny Casola.
From the Fox Business Network, Yahoo's breach of more than 1 billion accounts could threaten Verizon's offer to buy the company's core internet business. Verizon has offered to pay $4.8 billion. It now says it's reviewing the impact of this new development before reaching any final conclusions. Drug company Eli Lilly is predicting its sales and profit will be better next year, helped by its new diabetes treatments. The first ever legal retail marijuana store opens today in Anchorage, Alaska. Alaskans voted to approve recreational use of marijuana in 2014, but it has taken this long to set up and regulate the industry. Stocks retreated before the Wall Street close yesterday after the Federal Reserve raised short-term interest rates. The Dow's now about 200 points away from the 20,000 mark. The Dow was down 118 yesterday. NASDAQ dropped 27 and the S&P lost 18. With the Fox Business Report, I'm Ginny Cosola.
It is 8:05 in Chicago. A check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
You need to understand that the way you build wealth is you do not use the evening news or CNN or Fox to set the tone of your emotions around your investing.
The Dave Ramsey Show.
If you're thinking of changing your investing patterns because you're watching the news, you need to turn off the news. You are in charge of your destiny.
Dave Ramsey. Weeknights starting at 7. Presented by Wintrust Community Bank on AM 560. The Answer.
I'm Nick Soboleski, a Select Quote agent with a true story that could save you hundreds of dollars a year. A woman named Linda just called. Her husband, Ray, has a $300,000 group life insurance policy, but is changing jobs and can't take it with him. Well, I impartially shopped the highly rated term life insurance companies we represent and found Ray, who is 41 and takes medication to control his cholesterol, a 10-year, $500,000 policy for under $26 a month. That's almost twice the coverage for less than half of what he had paid. If SelectQuote hasn't shopped for your life insurance, you're probably paying too much.
For your free quote, call 1-800-467-5125. That's 1-800-467-5125. 1-800-467-5125. Or go to SelectQuote.com. We shop, you save. Get full details on the example policy at SelectQuote.com/commercials. Your price can vary depending on your health, issuing company, and other factors not available in all states.
It is 8:07. Check of the roads in our AM 560 traffic center with Jim Talamonte.
Thanks, Mike. It's jammed on the inbound Kennedy now from Austin to the Burns Circle, an hour and 10 minutes. O'Hare to downtown, 49 minutes from Montrose, 34 in the express lanes. Outbound 41 minutes downtown to the airport. Eden's 23 minutes. Lake Cook to the junction, outbound 34. The Eisenhower's an hour and 12 minutes. Thorndale to the post office, 56 minutes from Manheim, outbound 50 to Thorndale. Stevenson, 58 minutes, 3:55 to Lakeshore Drive. Outbound 42. Ryan, 26 minutes, 95th to downtown. Lakeshore Drive southbound, it's slow. Hollywood to North Avenue and 18th to the Stevenson. Northbound from the Stevenson to Jackson. Tri-State southbound heavy, Washington to 176. Northbound from the Stevenson to the Hinsdale Oasis and from the Reagan Tollway to North Avenue. Eastbound Adams Tollway stop and go Bussy to Lee. Reagan Tollway from Orchard to Yola. Veterans Memorials, those 75th to the Reagan Tollway. Traffic answers when you need them most. I'm Jim Talamonte, AM 560, The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast from the AirComfort.com Weather Center. Let's get the forecast with Ashley Benoit.
Brisk and very cold today with sunshine mixing with some clouds. Extreme cold can be dangerous for outdoor activities, high 8. Mostly cloudy and frigid tonight. A little late night snow with little or no accumulation, low 2, but temperatures rising to the lower teens. I'm Ashley Benoit for AM 560, The Answer. 2 below at O'Hare, 0 along the lakefront, -4 in Aurora. Your next news update is at 8:30. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next.
on AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by the IRS Radio Hour with attorney Stephen Leahy every Sunday afternoon at 5 on AM 560, The Answer.
Good morning. Welcome to your Thursday morning briefing. Here's what you need to know to start your day.
I'm here to help you folks do well. We're going to be there for you, and you'll call my people, you'll call me. It doesn't make any difference. We have no formal chain of command.
There's ample evidence that was known long before the election, and even in most cases long before October, that Russia was involved.
And when it comes to Mr. Tillerson, here's what he's got to do to convince me. I want to hear from him if he believes the Russians tried to interfere in our election. They're trying to destabilize democracies throughout the world. If he doesn't believe that, I would have a hard time voting for him.
This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560. The Answer.
Good morning, Dan and Amy. All right, we've got a treat for you here. Coming up, we've got The Godfather. We've got CNBC's Rick Santelli, on-air editor for CNBC. And I just want to prepare people.
Okay.
Because it's like a tour de force when you talk to a Godfather like Rick Santelli. You remember about 6 weeks before the election, the Obama administration generated a run on Deutsche Bank. Almost precipitated the collapse of Deutsche Bank because they're shaking down banks for fines, $14 billion they wanted. Here was Rick Santelli on CNBC reacting to that in part.
What if the central banks all get together and decide, well, okay, we don't want that to happen, let's buy Deutsche Bank. Or when any other bank or company is in trouble, we'll buy that. Or as you get to political highlight points like election times, you want to keep everything pretty clean, make sure nothing goes down. Is that the world we really want to live in? Here's where I'm going with this. Janet Yellen recently, and it's all over every blog and every tongue of every trader, is considering the costs and benefits of doing things like other central banks. Maybe buying equities, maybe buying corporates. It's a bad idea. It's not only the fact of who gets to pick and choose, it will completely and utterly, in every possible way, destroy any value in the marketplace. Completely. It'll be a useless investment. What good is it without price discovery, without people getting together and using the markets to either add to risk or dispense of their risk to actually get a large group of individuals, whether in a group or on an electronic platform, to bid and offer and come up with a true price reflecting the fundamentals of whatever they're trading? A backstop by central banks is not only horrible, and the final joke here is that in order for Janet Yellen and company to do any of that, they would go and have to get permission from Congress. I will just leave it at that. Think about that congressional hearing.
That's why they call him the Godfather, or at least we do here out in the hustings. Rick Santelli, CNBC on-air editor, thanks so much for joining us. Appreciate it.
My pleasure.
Now, before we begin on the substance, I have to say we were in Maxfield's in Lombard, Amy and I, having breakfast with a couple of listeners yesterday, and we saw a Rick Santelli signed picture.
8x10 glossy.
Yeah, in Maxfield's.
Looking
and
pretty tight, huh?
And we demanded that our 8x10 glossy be put up next year, so I hope you take no offense.
Oh, none at all.
Yeah.
Boy, they have some good food. Their skirt steak is delicious.
Yeah,
See, I should have ordered that,
told you.
Rick. I was so close to getting it.
All right, Maxfield's and Lombard skirt steak. You've heard it here first, Rick Santelli. All right, Rick, so that was you talking about Janet Yellen once upon a time, just 6 weeks ago. What about the Fed's decision yesterday to bump interest rates by a quarter point?
You know, it just astonishes me that investors have gotten so enamored putting their money back to work in the marketplace even before President-elect is sworn in on the 20th. Why is that, you think, Dan and Amy? Well, most likely because investors are looking at some very simple metrics of the political landscape. The Senate, Republican. The House, Republican. The President, Republican. They've been working on issues regarding tax policy. They've been working on issues regarding rolling back regulations that are like saddlebags on a burro, overloading the animal, inability to make much movement, especially uphill. And, of course, that's an analogy for the economy. And investors like what they see. Low-hanging fruit. We're going to maybe make government a little smaller, streamline the process. Janet Yellen yesterday hardly mentioned the close to 9.5% move in equities to the upside. The move in interest rates, that's for a good reason. Rates are going up because it looks like growth has a possibility to pick up. All these things are good things. Janet Yellen and company hardly mention them. Listen, I understand the Federal Reserve is an institution that doesn't want to be too optimistic without seeing facts, but not to acknowledge this, in my opinion, was a confidence buster yesterday. I think the Fed should have tipped their hat to what investors seem to know a little bit more about than the Fed, and that is the fairy dust in the system is quite important to the entire process of markets and growth.
And as part of the confidence boost that you're describing, the result of the selections Trump has made for important cabinet posts?
Well, listen, politics isn't really my venue unless it kind of stampedes into the markets. And I think the cabinet process, to me, the way I look at it is, if you're anti-regulation and you think that's been a weight on the economy, now let's look at where all these regs come from. They come from places like the EPA, National Labor Relations Board. Many of Donald Trump's picks are individuals that are going to go against the momentum of those kind of fourth branch of government agencies. And in that regard, I think none of this should be a surprise. That's why the people put him in office. That's why the people in the UK kicked out Brussels. That's why the people in Italy voted out the Renzi referendum. There is a reason Donald Trump is there, and he is just fulfilling the promise that he basically made to people to halt some of these issues and their momentum as it takes away from the economy.
All right, so the Federal Reserve raised interest rates for a second time in a decade. Once the Trump team, and of course Donald Trump becomes from president-elect to president of the United States, do you see another interest rate coming anytime soon?
I'll tell you what, I think that the U.S. Federal Reserve is doing the right thing. They're doing it too slow. They're probably doing it in too small of increments. But I think that the transition into the Trump administration will not impede that process. Now, my guess is that Donald Trump has expressed his own opinions regarding the Federal Reserve and how they operate, and Janet Yellen. I think those issues are a bit separate. I know her tenure will run out in early 2018. She expressed yesterday in the post-Fed decision press conference she fully anticipates to play through her entire term. I wouldn't doubt that would be the case. But just like the way current President Obama sort of signaled various things, for example, to the Department of Justice regarding Hillary's emails, you can have a president that isn't going to fire people, isn't going to make too much noise, but I think there's little doubt that he does send and has sent messages with regard to his opinions on the Federal Reserve and the leader of the Federal Reserve, Chairperson Yellen.
But ultimately, growth next year and in years to come is going to be more of a function of the fiscal policy decisions made by the president and Congress than it is Janet Yellen or any other Fed chairman.
Oh, absolutely. I'm telling you, Dan, you could put that on the marquee of the Chicago Theater. That's what has kind of given me fuel for the last 5+ years. The notion that you can't spin straw into growth. The Federal Reserve can try to do various things. They could try to make the landscape a little bit better. But ultimately, the structural issues that have impeded our economy can't be dealt with by low interest rates, easy money, and picking and choosing various programs that seem to have benefited those that they wanted to penalize in the very beginning. Too big to fail banks, the 1%. I have nothing against the 1%, but I do think that if we look at all the arguments from 2010 and 11 regarding Wall Street and Main Street, that much of the medicine that has been relegated out by some of the agencies and groups like the Federal Reserve certainly didn't accomplish the mission. What accomplishes the mission is the fiscal side, and I think some of the Fed's activities over the last handful of years have actually enabled the Congress not to do their job, the job that Trump is most likely going to get them to do.
Now, I know you're not much for political theater, but when you've got $3 trillion worth of CEOs in a room and the president-elect, you got to take notice. So his tech exec summit yesterday, in which he said, among other things, did Trump, and we're going to do fair trade deals. We're going to make it a lot easier for you to trade across borders because a lot of the restrictions, a lot of the problems that I think you'll see. So on the one hand, he seems to be talking about relieving companies of regulatory burdens. On the other hand, fair trade is kind of signaling language as well. I wonder what your takeaway from that confab yesterday was.
You know, my opinion is that some of the big multinational companies may indeed have a bit of a harder time. And not all of that is because President-elect Trump is trying to, in my opinion, create a baseline for future negotiations. Let's just take something even more simple. The U.S. Federal Reserve rates, as you pointed out, for the second time in 10 years. And I think that they're going to be on a path to continue to normalize/raise rates, get them up to a level more appropriate with the economy because we're not in a crisis anymore. All of those activities are going to make the U.S. dollar stronger. It's a pretty simple concept. If our rates are going up, capital is going to go to the country whose rates are highest. Mm-hmm. Just that alone is going to create an impediment on the export side for multinational corporations shipping goods all over the world, because a stronger dollar means our prices for our exports are going to go up. So I think it's complicated, and unfortunately, sometimes there's winners and losers. Even in a marketplace where you don't have too few individuals making the decisions, it's better when the market makes the decisions. Not flawless, of course, but better. But I don't think that's anything to dispense the notion that things are going to get better. I think just look at labor. You know, if you can get labor in Mexico, for example, for a fraction, $7, $8, $9 versus $35 here, that's a handicap and an impediment, but I at least think President-elect Trump is going to do other things to help the playing field, especially on the tax side. So I think all those things have to be put on the scale. I do think more domestic companies and service-oriented companies may benefit more greatly than multinationals under some of what I think will be coming down the legislative pipe over the next 200 days.
You know, Rick Santelli, I'm still laugh election night at some of our friends who are texting saying the stock market's going to crash. What do I do? And actually, markets have closed in record territory. Do you see this lasting through the Trump presidency?
Listen, I've learned about how markets can be very complicated to predict. I've been following them very closely since '79. Nothing is linear when it comes to markets. Now, in a macro general sense, I do think there's going to be very good improvement in productivity and growth. That will be accompanied by more inflation. All of that, I think, will lead to an upward trajectory of markets, particularly in the stock market, which is always a kind of an inflationary divining rod. So if you believe there's a reflation trade under the Trump administration, stocks should help you keep up with that inflation and do move more to the upside. But we want to make sure we let viewers know nothing is linear. It's not going to be a straight line. It's not going to look like a mountain going straight up. But I do think it'll be more like a staircase. You do a certain amount up, and then you give a little bit back, but ultimately you go higher.
All right. He is Rick Santelli, on-air editor for CNBC. Rick, always enjoy you watching on CNBC and, of course, having you on the show. Appreciate you coming on and sharing your insights.
Oh, thanks to you, Dan and Amy. A real pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you. And he joined us on our Turnkey.pro answer line.
The stories you need to know to start your day. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
I love Rick Santelli.
Love. I don't know if you're going to love this forecast. Plenty of sunshine. That's good news. But right now, take a guess, Dan, what the current temperature is. The air temperature, not the wind chill.
It's minus 80 degrees.
It's -2.
Oh.
2 below. Factor in the wind chill. It's minus 22 in Hampshire. Ouch. That's the coldest place in the area. Going up to a high today of 8 degrees. Tonight it'll be frigid, a bit of snow late. Extreme cold can be dangerous yet again, a low of 2 degrees. And tomorrow, it's just going to be balmy. It's going to be 21 degrees. It's going to feel warm. We can't rule out a bit of snow, a dusting to an inch. A lot of spun out cars on the roadways. Here's Jim Tillamonte.
Amy, got a crash in Buffalo Grove, which has Aptekissick Road shut down right now. Buffalo Grove Road and Prairie. Inbound Kennedy's a mess. Delays starting at Austin, an hour and 14 minutes. O'Hare to downtown, 52 minutes from Montrose, 38 in the Express. Outbound 36 to O'Hare. Eden's 22 minutes, Lake Cook to Montrose. Outbound 30. Eisenhower, an hour and 12 minutes. Thorndale to downtown, 56 from Manheim. Outbound 50 to Thorndale. Stevenson, an hour and 3 minutes, 355 to Lakeshore Drive. Outbound 38 minutes. Bryan, 26 minutes, 95th to downtown. Southbound Lakeshore Drive, it's slow. Hollywood to North Avenue, 35 minutes. Hollywood to Monroe. Northbound from the Stevenson to Jackson. Tri-State, delays are southbound Washington to 176, northbound from the Stevenson most of the way to 31st, at the Reagan Tollway to North Avenue, Adams Tollway heavy bussy to Lee, and the Reagan Tollway's long delays from the Fox River to Yackley. I'm Jim Talamonte in the AM 560 Traffic Center.
He's coming. Michael Medved is coming to Chicago in February, and today only we have a very special one-day ticket discount opportunity. Now, if you buy your tickets today to see Michael Medved and use the discount code MIRACLE, all lowercase, when you purchase your tickets, you can get VIP tickets for just $56 or general admission tickets for $25. That's a huge discount off the regular price. But that discount code is only for today. Use discount code MIRACLE, all lowercase. It's all happening on Thursday, February 2nd at the Belvedere Banquets in Elk Grove Village. Michael will be talking about his new book, The American Miracle, Divine Providence, and the Rise of the Republic. VIP tickets include a copy of the book and a special meet and greet with Michael. So go to 560theanswer.com, keyword miracle, and use the discount code MIRACLE, all lowercase, today only. It's sponsored by Best Dental Group and Chicago Anesthesia Pain Specialists.
Signature Bank is Chicago's fastest growing independently owned business bank. It's a bank where relationships still matter. Signature Bank knows your name and your story. I'm Dan Proft, and I know this because Signature Bank is my business bank.
Hi, I'm Mick O'Rourke, President and CEO of Signature Bank. We'd like to wish you happy holidays from our Signature Bank family to your family.
I'm Kevin Vestuga, co-founder of Signature Bank. There's no better place to be for the holidays than Chicago.
And this is Brian Duncan, co-founder of Signature Bank. Whether it's ice skating under the lights at Millennium Park,
or my favorite, visiting Candy Cane Lane in Lincolnwood to see the Noonan House with the tree magically rising through the roof,
or attending the annual tree lighting in downtown Downers Grove.
We wish you the very best this holiday season from Signature Bank, Chicago's business bank.
Signature Bank is looking for their next success story. Learn more about turning your business vision into reality. Visit signature-bank.com. Signature Bank, helping local businesses succeed. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Burger King presents Breakfast Stories. Today's story, Marty and the 2 for $4 croissant sandwich.
Yeah, I go to Burger King. They got that croissant sandwich deal, 2 for $4. It's wicked good with the sausage, dude. And 2 for $4, that is a huge bargain. Huge.
Well said, Marty. Tasty, savory, sausage on a flaky croissant. Hey, this is not breakfast. This is a Burger King breakfast. Get 2 croissant sandwiches now for just $4. Only at Burger King. Price and participation vary.
Dear Ulta Beauty,
we've been extra good this year and looking so good while doing it.
So this holiday, we'll take pretty new eyeshadow palettes to make our eyes sparkle and fantastic new fragrances that smell oh so sweet.
Don't forget lovely new lipsticks. We'll take Velvet and Shine. And please fill our stockings with serums and balms and hair tools galore.
Every girl has a list, and this holiday there's only one place to get glam and get gifts. Lovely lipsticks, fantastic fragrances, and pretty palettes await. Ulta Beauty. Joy to the girl.
Balance of Nature's fruits and veggies.
Well, I'm pretty stupid. I should have ordered it 15 years ago. It's the most effective product that I've ever bought in my life.
He had eczema on his hand, and it cracked for years. He did anything from doctor, every cream, everything. And 3 months on the veggies and fruit, it was gone.
With the tremendous success of Dr. Howard's free set of fruits and veggies giveaway and the 120-day health challenge, this holiday season we are doubling down. Call now and see how you can get your free month supply of fruits and veggies, plus a month supply of fiber and spice, free. Give the gift of health to yourself and loved ones, perhaps the greatest gift you'll ever give.
Call 800-2468-751. That's 800-2468-751. Or go online to balanceofnature.com. Use promo code CHICAGO.
AM 560, The Answer.
Dan and Amy, well, you heard Rick Santelli, you small to mid-size entrepreneurial capitalists. Good news coming, and we're going to grow. Yay! That means you can be generous this Christmas season and help us feed the poor in Guatemala and Haiti. Our partnership with Food for the Poor, a 35-year-old charity that provides 95 cents of every dollar raised to the individuals who are literally facing starvation in Haiti and Guatemala. A $2,500 tax-deductible donation to enroll in our business benefactor program. Make that $2,500 tax-deductible donation to Food for the Poor. You provide food for a year, water for life for 50 children in Haiti and Guatemala towards our goal of providing food and water for 1,500 children this Christmas season. And Amy, what do they get in return for their generosity?
Well, you make that one-time donation. All of the money goes to Food for the Poor. And as a way of saying thanks, we give you 40 60-second commercials that run Monday through Friday. We don't bury the commercials. No, they're going to run prime time here on AM 560. And really, if you're a business owner or a marketing director and you want to take your business to the next level, you want to get out there, so to speak, this is really the best deal ever in Chicagoland radio. And you need to act quickly because there are not a lot of slots available. People such as Cashcasters.com, Center Stage Dance Studio, AmericanEagle.com, C.H. Hansen, they've already become business benefactors. So be like the cool kids and help out families in need this holiday season and really help your business too.
And the way you do that is call our sales director. He's Michael Mann. His number is 847-871-1527. Again, 847-871-1527. He'll get you enrolled in the program, answer your questions about the 40, 60-second ads you get for enrolling, and any other questions you may have about joining these other companies, some of which Amy read, to be a business benefactor and help us feed starving children and families in Haiti and Guatemala this Christmas season.
You've made the switch, and it feels so good. You switched to Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
A business is special when customers say, I really like this place, or this is awesome. I should have come here sooner. That's exactly what customers say about Five Star Firearms, manufacturer of the world's finest speed loaders and Chicagoland's premier shooting destination. You're always greeted with a smile, from new shooter to experience. 5 Star's brand new range and firearms store are staffed by knowledgeable men and women who love what they do. Get your holiday gifts, gift certificates, and stay to enjoy an hour on 5 Star's range. Be sure to ask about a membership. They start at only $300 and include discounts and benefits. Need a fun outing? Ask about corporate or group events. No experience is required. 5 Star Firearms in Zion, Illinois. Mention AM 560 and receive a special gift. Visit 5starfirearms.com for info or call 847-731-7898. That's the digit 5, starfirearms.com or 847-731-7898. 5 Star Firearms.
Go ahead. Make my day.
AM 560. The Answer.
Coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer, it's happened again. You mean another alderman has been indicted?
Getting back to our average of one per year since the year of my birth. I like to even it out. We'll talk to Faisal Khan, CEO of Project 6, about the indictment of Chicago Alderman Willie Cochran and another convicted former alderman, Sandy Jackson, in the news. And
Jackson, if you're nasty.
And who else can we send to federal prison? There's got to be others. Let's send them all.
But first, let's send this into the newsroom and say good morning again to Mike Scott.
It is 0 outside this morning. Wind chills at minus 17. Dangerous cold through noontime. Residents in eastern Aleppo appear to be finally evacuating parts of that besieged Syrian city. About 29 buses and ambulances are heading out of Aleppo. Kremlin denying a report that Russian President Vladimir Putin personally directed how hacked data from U.S. Democrats could be used in the U.S. presidential election. A preliminary hearing is scheduled this morning in Tennessee for the 24-year-old driver of that school bus that crashed last month, killing 6 children. Jonathan Walker is charged with 5 counts of vehicular homicide. Yahoo says if you ever had one of their accounts now or in the past, your password and email addresses are likely stolen. It happened to Lynn Bartholomew.
Somebody got hold of all of my contacts and just sprayed all of them with nonsense, and I was getting a couple emails from people that said, "Is this you? What's going on?"
Hackers stole information for more than 1 billion users in August of 2013. Closing arguments are expected to begin today in the 3-month-old federal trial of 6 suspected super gang leaders in Chicago. It's the Hobo Gang Leaders trial. The number of people killed in an early morning one-car crash in Posen is now at 3. And DCFS says they're investigating the death of a 7-month-old boy on Chicago's South Side, found unresponsive this week at his home near 77th and Racine. Being on the same job for 60 years would probably be no Disneyland for most people. But for Oscar Martinez, it is Disneyland. The 81-year-old is about to celebrate 6 decades of working at the California theme park. College hoops last night, Northern Illinois, Northwestern, Southern Illinois, and UIC, all winners, while the White Sox agreed to a $6 million one-year contract with pitcher Derek Holland. The news, a service of Staples. Staples can take care of all of your personal and business holiday shipping in-store with UPS 7 days a week, with all the packing supplies you need at great prices. Plus, from now until December 24th, get 10% off UPS shipping services. See an associate for details. Staples, make more happen. 8:34 and a check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Mike Gallagher can't believe the Democrats are blaming Russia.
This is an absolute smokescreen by sore losers
who don't like the fact that Hillary Clinton was defeated.
If we were whining that Hillary won because of Russian interference, there'd be only one response in the halls of the New York Times and CNN.
The Mike Gallagher Show, weekdays at 9, right before Dennis Prager at 11 on AM 560. The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by Papa Nicholas Coffee. Papa Nicholas, best beans, best roast, best coffee.
This is Dan Proft with 60 Seconds of Sanity. Donald Trump is not the hero never Trump conservative intellectuals wanted, but perhaps the one we needed. His cabinet is a veritable conservative super friends. Assembled at the Trump Tower of Justice is a diverse array of crusaders who have saved jobs, provided educational scholarships for poor kids, and generally fought for truth, justice, and the American way. In short, they're innovators who've implemented solutions rooted in conservative thought in business, the military, medicine, the law, and our schools. They feature real-world accomplishments. Courage is the superpower common among them. It's the most important shared value of all. As C.S. Lewis observed in the Screwtape Letters, courage is the form of every virtue at the testing point. In other words, if you don't possess courage, it's impossible to exhibit any other virtue because you will wilt when pressed. It is readily apparent that there will be no shrinking violets in Trump's rose garden. Yet their heroic instincts will be tested by the D.C. ruling class. So can Trump's super friends defeat the Potomac potentates and return power to the people? Stay tuned for our next exciting episode.
My name is David Hochberg, Vice President of Lending at Pearl Mortgage. If you're looking to purchase a new home or refinance your existing home, give me a call. Stacy wanted to contact a realtor before purchasing a home in Deerfield. Bad move. Not getting pre-qualified by me before talking to a realtor is like smoking while pumping gas. I pre-qualified Stacy to purchase a home and introduced her to Lauren Shue, my preferred Deerfield realtor. If you're purchasing a home, call me first. I'll pre-qualify you for free and introduce you to my experienced team of preferred realtors who will help you locate the perfect home. My team of real estate experts will always look out for your financial best interest. If you're buying a home, give me a call now at 312-751-1333 or visit am560david.com. I've helped thousands of AM 560 listeners, but I can't help if you don't call 312-751-1333 or visit am560david.com. Pearl Mortgage and Equal Housing Lender, Illinois Residential Mortgage License D4358, RMLA, NMLS 19186.
You're on the go, up against life's daily challenges. You're up for that challenge every day, but need to take care of yourself. It's easy to get caught up with your routine and forget how much your body needs to stay properly hydrated to maintain peak performance. From hardworking tradesmen and busy professionals to moms running errands with the kids, many know the advantage to keep up the pace. Introducing MySport. MySport is your key to staying hydrated. Engineered by a bioscience company that knows you want healthier choices, MySport has the best hydration elements. You'll ditch those artificial flavors and heavy syrups and add the benefits of electrolytes, B vitamins, antioxidants, and best of all, get rid of that cloudy excuse for a drink you've been calling refreshing. The clear, healthier choice for hydration your body needs is MySport. Now through December 31st, visit misportdrink.com today and save 25% on all flavors. That's misportdrink.com. For healthier lives, MySport delivers more than hydration. misportdrink.com.
8:37 and a check of the roads in our AM 560 traffic center with Jim Talamonte.
Thanks, Mike. Metro trains on most lines are running up to 20 minutes behind schedule due to some weather-related issues. Eden's inbound crash reported before Tower. 28 minutes, Lake Hook to Montrose, outbound 31. Kennedy, an hour and 9 minutes. O'Hare to downtown, 45 minutes from Montrose, 30 in the Express, outbound 34 to O'Hare. The Eisenhower's an hour and 18 minutes. Thorndale to the post office, 59 minutes from Manheim, outbound 49 to Thorndale. Stevenson, an hour and 3 minutes, 3:55 to Lakeshore Drive, about 36 minutes. The Ryan, 95th to downtown, 24 minutes. Tri-State southbound stop and go, 132 to a plane. Northbound from the Stevenson to 31st at the Reagan to North Avenue. Veterans Memorial very slow, 75th to 63rd with a crash in the left lane. Traffic answers when you need them most. I'm Jim Talamonte on AM 560, The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast from the aircomfort.com Weather Center. Brisk, very cold. Some of the extreme cold wind chills could be dangerous on your skin. High of 8 above and a bit of snow overnight. So again, extreme cold in spots could be dangerous, and a low of 2 above. 0 at O'Hare, 0 along the lakefront. Your next news update is at 9, and Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by Power Trading Radio. Heard Sundays at 2 p.m. Brought to you each week by Online Trading Academy.
When you've got questions, he always has an answer. It's Sean Hannity this afternoon at 2, right before Joe Walsh at 5 on AM 560, The Answer.
Good morning, Dan and Amy. And as the Tribune observed some 20 years ago on the occasion of Hyde Park Alderman Larry Bloom's corruption conviction. You remember him? Remember?
It was a long time ago.
Larry Bloom, he was a reformer. And the Tribune observed when he was convicted of corruption charges, Chicago's so crooked that even the reformers go to jail.
Oh, nice.
And 20 years later, it continues. So this time it's even the former Chicago police officers go to jail. Or I think that's where Alderman Willie Cochran is going to end up. He was indicted by a federal grand jury yesterday on 15 counts that range from misuse of funds to extortion, 11 counts of wire fraud, 2 counts of federal bribery, 2 counts of extortion. See, he was using money from a ward activities fund to pay for his daughter's college tuition, as well as to finance his gambling excursions and to purchase items for his home. And then he also was running a bit of an extortion racket, trying to extort money from, for example, a lawyer and a liquor store owner in exchange for his support for their licensing.
Yeah, a little bit of a shakedown.
Yeah, that this is going to surprise a lot of people to learn. That's actually still illegal in Chicago. Extortion is still.
But it's learned behavior, so some aldermen might have taught him, how this all works.
Well, I mean, I just want to give a heads up to the rest of the trained seals on the city council, just so you know, extortion, wire fraud, these are still crimes, even in Chicago. I mean, I know this probably is going to come as a shock to many.
But what stings is that he used to enforce the law. He used to be a police officer for almost 3 decades.
It speaks to Chicago's political culture, its pernicious, toxic political culture that permeates the state. And for more on this, we're joined by our friend Faisal Khan. He is the CEO of Project 6. He is the former legislative inspector general of said Chicago City Council, which Willie Cochran remains on because, of course, he's not going to resign because that's only what guilty people do, and he is going to prove his innocence in a court of law. Hilarious. Faisal, thanks so much for joining us. Appreciate it.
No worries. Good morning, Dan. Good morning, Amy.
So your reaction to the Willie Cochran indictment, did that come as a surprise, or was he one of the aldermen that you were scrutinizing as well?
Yeah, well, he was one of the ones that I referred over to the FBI when the office got shut down, Dan. So It wasn't a surprise. We were expecting this to happen. It's sad that somebody has to face a federal indictment, but it's also rare to get an ethics win around here. So, there's some satisfaction that came out of this.
Well, how long has he been shaking, some business owners down and using this alleged charity to fund his gambling problems and his daughter's education?
It's only a problem when he loses.
So the problem is, Amy, I can't get too much into the details of it because it's still no open investigation and prosecution, but I will tell you that what you see in the indictment is a lot of what we investigated, and, those are just the bare bone minimum of the allegations, and unfortunately, this is conduct that just only Willie Cochran didn't do, a lot of aldermen have done, and they still do, as Dan pointed out.
Yeah, and so I know when we sat down for our Against the Current interview, which you can watch on upstream-ideas.com, and talked a little bit about this several weeks back, you mentioned that before the office got shut down, because you weren't supposed to do any inspecting, and that was you were apparently confused that you were not supposed to do a job. You're supposed to just sit there and look pretty. Before that happened, you referred a number of case files to the FBI, and so do you expect more aldermen to be indicted in the not-too-distant future?
I do. We worked hard on a number of different investigations, and we found criminality in a lot of them, Dan. And so it was my job to make sure that those cases get prosecuted. And so we referred those over to the FBI, as you noted, and this is the first of hopefully more to come. Is
it possible to indict the other 49 members of the city council and have it disbanded?
Well, there are some good people there, Dan, and I wouldn't want to paint them with the same brush. There are people who do care about the taxpayer interest. Unfortunately, there's also a significant amount of them who don't, and that's the truth. And so this is why we'll have this conversation again in a couple of months and a couple of months after that. Mm-hmm. This is really an indictment on Chicago and the system and the culture of corruption here. It's about Willie Cochran yesterday in the specific instance, but this is really about Chicago and the way it's been going for decades and decades. I mean, I read the stat yesterday that 36 aldermen have been charged with some kind of crime over 30 years.
Well, do you think this is, well, is it learned behavior? I mean, do they have secret meetings? They're like, hey, why don't you shake down this guy if he wants to get a liquor license to have a liquor store open up and have him give you some
I'm sure
kickbacks?
That's part of it. I'm sure that's a lot of it, part of it, but it's just an acceptance of we can do what we want.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter. If we have an oversight office, we'll shut it down. If we want to take money, we'll take money. We'll change the law accordingly. We've seen that happen. So it is part of that, but it's just culture where these aldermen think that they run the city and they think that they can take and do whatever they please. Taxpayers be damned.
Well, and that's just it. This is the important point, or one of them, the culture that drives this decision making, even from somebody who's served on the Chicago Police Department for 26 years. So that's terribly unfortunate that now that's part of that's part of the Willie Cochran record, his police service and now his federal indictment. But it seems to me that when you have 50 feudal lords running around and the feeling is you can do what you want, or you can't do anything in my ward without my imprimatur, then you're going to have people that leverage their power for personal or political gain, campaign fundraising, and the like. And some just do it more artfully, and kind of walk that line. And some do it less artfully and get indicted. But you're talking about gradations here, not major distinctions.
Yeah, absolutely. I think you nailed it. That some just do it more artfully than others. But this is a culture that's embedded here, and we do, Dan. We have this conversation every 6 months. And unfortunately, we're going to continue having it until someone and the voters and the administration really take a hard look at this system and say, are we ready for change or not?
Well, and we're talking. I'm sorry, Faisal. We're talking Faisal Khan, CEO of Project 6. I wanted to just reference too, when you're talking about the political culture in Chicago. For those of you who don't know, even though you've been on the show a couple times, new listeners, Faisal, not some babe in the woods, who came from Provo, Utah to Chicago, and it's just a different political. I mean, you were the legislative inspector general in New York under two mayors, so you know something about political corruption. You know something about graft and big machine politics and urban centers. And I just want you to characterize your experience again in New York versus Chicago, because I think it's stark. It's similar to me, the way you describe it, thinking about the murder rate in a place like New York as compared to Chicago, and just something so much different and so much more depressing and destructive going on here than going on in other major cities like New York.
Yeah, I mean, well, when you look at a population 5 times larger than Chicago in New York City, and you look at a police department 4 times its size than the one in Chicago, you're talking about a cultural center, much bigger than here, yet you're not seeing the crime numbers, you're not seeing the corruption, or you're seeing zero tolerance towards corruption. And that's something we don't have here, which is mind-boggling. This is the 3rd biggest metropolis in this country, yet it's almost the Wild West. We're run like a city in Mexico. Why is that? Why has that not ended yet? Why are we at 30-plus and counting in terms of indictments over 30 years? And that's just local. We're not including the governors or the other state reps or the other elected officials here. When do we say enough is enough and try to really do something here? So my background comes from criminal prosecution. It comes from being the inspector general, as you noted. And so I came here with my eyes open, and, they kept widening because I can't believe what's happening here.
Right, but then what happened with you and Mayor Emanuel? Did he try to run you out of office, or what happened?
Yeah, we got zero support from City Hall for the mandate. We had no support from the mayor. He wouldn't want to meet with me. He didn't want to help us in any way. Frankly, he wasn't interested in ethics oversight. And if you compare his rhetoric back in 2011 and even yesterday about oversight, in reality, the truth is far from that. It's just a woeful failure of reform top to bottom here in Chicago.
Well, that says a lot, maybe because he's afraid of getting caught.
Well, right. And
conjecture on my part.
And having his toadies get caught, too. So your work that was referred to federal prosecutors resulted in the indictment of Willie Cochran yesterday. Also, your work we last spoke to you about, Brendan Riley, my alderman, the 42nd Ward, the big money center for the city, resulted in Brendan Riley's chief of staff resigning her post. Explain the nature of that investigation and the outcome.
Sure. Ms. Doring, Madeline Doring, Mr. Riley's acting chief of staff for a significant amount of time, is also a registered lobbyist. Ms. Doring lobbies for two large companies who are developers in the city of Chicago, and Mr. Riley's voted on items that relate to those two companies. They found a loophole to avoid the conflict of interest because he never really named her his full-time chief of staff and put her on city payroll. But the loophole really doesn't work because it's illegal whichever way you cut it. So we pointed that out, and despite blaming the messenger and telling everyone that we were the ones not reporting accurately, Ms. Riley stepped down from her position. So we, again, think that's a good win for ethics here in Chicago. So we're going to keep shining the light on issues like these to make sure we don't have these problems moving forward.
All right. He is Faisal Khan, the CEO of Project 6, as in the number, Project 6. He's also a former legislative inspector general for the Chicago City Council. Faisal, I guess we'll be talking to you again soon. Thanks for joining us. Appreciate it.
Thanks, guys.
And he joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
Connect with Dan and Amy using the AM 560 mobile app. Download it today at 560theanswer.com/mobile.
Plenty of sunshine, but it's -1 right now at O'Hare. Factor in the wind chill, it's -19. Good times. Bad day to go streaking at the mall. And then tonight, frigid, a bit of snow, a low of 2. And tomorrow, high of 21 with about an inch of snow. Travel times, let's get to it. How's that inbound Kennedy? Here's Jim Telemonte.
No fun at all, Amy. Delays start at Austin, an hour and 15 minutes. O'Hare to downtown, 50 minutes from Montrose, 31 in the Express. Outbound, 32 minutes from downtown to O'Hare. Inbound Edens before Tower Road, got a crash in the left lane. It is jammed from the spur around Waukegan Road to the Edens. More delays than Foster to the junction. 31 minutes, Lake Cook to Montrose, outbound 26. The Eisenhower's an hour and a half. Thorndale to downtown, an hour and 8 minutes from Manheim. Outbound 45 minutes to Thorndale. Stevenson, an hour and 3 minutes. 3:55 to Lakeshore Drive. Outbound 36 minutes. Ryan, 24 minutes from 95th to the Loop. Southbound Lakeshore Drive, it's slow. Hollywood to North Avenue and 18th to the Stevenson. Northbound from the Stevenson to Jackson. Tri-State southbound, still clogged up from 132 to a plane. Northbound from the Stevenson to 47th and from the Reagan to North Avenue. Jim Talamonte in the AM 560 Traffic Center.
Hey, guys, give your wife, girlfriend what she really wants this holiday season, this Christmas, and it's called Micro Velvet Tempting Touch PJs by the experts over there, PJs, experts at Pajamagram. Tempting Touch PJs are what they're called, and they're simply the softest and most luxurious pajamas ever imagined. Addictively soft, they beg to be touched. So go to pajamagram.com and get her the blissful comfort you know she deserves. She'll be happy, you'll be happy. Again, it's a holiday gift that has never felt this tempting. You don't even have to wrap because every Pajamagram includes free gift packaging, Christmas delivery guaranteed. So visit pajamagram.com or call 1-800-GIVE-PJs. That's 1-800-GIVE-PJs.
Signature Bank is Chicago's fastest growing independently owned business bank. It's a bank where relationships still matter. Signature Bank knows your name and your story. I'm Dan Proft, and I know this because Signature Bank is my business bank.
Hi, I'm Mick O'Rourke, President and CEO of Signature Bank. We'd like to wish you happy holidays from our Signature Bank family to your family.
I'm Kevin Vestuga, co-founder of Signature Bank. There's no better place to be for the holidays than Chicago.
And this is Brian Duncan, co-founder of Signature Bank. Whether it's ice skating under the lights at Millennium Park,
or my favorite, visiting Candy Cane Lane in Lincolnwood to see the Noonan House with the tree magically rising through the roof.
Or attending the annual tree lighting in downtown Downers Grove.
we wish you the very best this holiday season from Signature Bank, Chicago's business bank.
Signature Bank is looking for their next success story. Learn more about turning your business vision into reality. Visit signature-bank.com. Signature Bank, helping local businesses succeed. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
My daughter started school, and I find myself worrying if she is getting home safe while I'm still at work. I wish I could check up on her.
Alarm Detection Systems offers remote control of your security system from your phone. Get text or video alerts when someone's at your door. ADS is an authorized Honeywell equipment dealer. Visit adsalarm.com or call 630-844-6300. Alarm license number 127000143.
Our neighbor had thousands of dollars in flood damage and lost several items that are irreplaceable. Is there a security solution to receive early warning of an event like this?
Of course. Alarm Detection Systems has flood detection systems alerting you when water gathers in your home, giving you time to react. ADS is an authorized Honeywell equipment dealer. Visit adsalarm.com or call 630-844-6300. Alarm license number 127000143.
AM 560, The Answer.
All right, all these colleges have safe spaces, where they just want to shield themselves from bullying and name-calling. Well, at Eastern Illinois, have you been to Eastern Illinois, by the way, Dan?
The Panthers.
Yes.
The Tony Romos.
Sean Payton. Who else?
Oh
my gosh,
our guy.
But Jimmy G.
Garoppolo.
Jimmy Garoppolo. He was QB at Eastern Illinois. Well, I guess this, the stress of finals, it's a lot on these poor, fragile little birds.
No question.
So Eastern Illinois has come up with a new thing to help deal with the stress, and that's therapy dogs. So if you're stressed over finals, you can release and help you take your mind off things for a while and go visit a therapy dog.
That's animal cruelty.
Hear about the big stories of the day, then talk about them right here on Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Balance of Nature's fruits and veggies has reached consumers in every state in the union. World-renowned celebrities, famous athletes, top news commentators, thousands of professionals, and yes, hundreds of doctors. Here's Dr. Watkins.
Balance of Nature selects only the